Chapter 505. With a thought, the newly born purple phoenix wings unfurled, flowing with purplish-red veins. As the veins throbbed, they faintly emitted the cry of a phoenix. Although the purple phoenix wings of the past still had some residual power, it could still be seen at a glance that it was just an inanimate object. Now, the purple phoenix wings on Lin Chen's body were like the genuine true flame purple phoenix. Moreover, what was different from before was that the purple phoenix wings increased the upper limit after obtaining the bloodline. If Lin Chen's dragon force continued to grow, the effect it brought to Lin Chen would also continue to become stronger. What was even more mysterious was that the azure dragon that swallowed the flesh of the true flame purple phoenix also gained the purple phoenix wings. A 10,000-year profound azure dragon flapping purplish-red phoenix wings on its back. Anyone who saw this would be astonished. This was related to Lin Chen's absorption of the third bloodline. After the azure dragon bloodline and the purple phoenix bloodline merged, the improvement it brought was even greater than Lin Chen's own. The azure dragon's qi, blood, and vitality were countless times stronger than before. Not only was it because of the dragon veins opening wildly, but more importantly, it had inherited the characteristics of the true flame purple phoenix, the strong vitality that belonged only to the purple phoenix. New abilities: Purple Phoenix Nirvana, True Flame Recovery. New memories emerged in Lin Chen's mind. His azure dragon had awakened 2 new bloodline abilities. The purple phoenix Nirvana was to rise after destruction. When it was on the verge of death, it had a chance to be reborn from the ashes and break through. True Flame Recovery was to increase one's vitality, similar to Lin Chen's Wood Spirit Essence technique. The 2 fallen Class 7 vicious beasts had brought great benefits to Lin Chen. "Young master, may this old man be so bold as to ask, what is your name?" The half-step emperor cupped his fists respectfully. His attitude had completely treated Lin Chen as a war emperor. "This humble one is called Marshal." "Marshal name, Lin Chen." Lin Chen smiled casually. The old man said gratefully, "Thank you, Prince Lin Chen, for saving my life. This old man is from Silvermoon City. If young master doesn't belong to any sect, please consider my Silvermoon City. Of course, we will treat young master with the highest standards." Silvermoon City wasn't one of the 10 main cities of Firmament Tower. Inside the Firmament Tower, there were also some experts who were not used to cultivating under the premise that their cultivation was sealed in their bodies. They liked to be free in the outside world, so they all formed their own sects and expanded their territory in the outside world, establishing their own sects and districts. If they could befriend such a talented young genius, it would definitely be a great help to Silvermoon City. "Well, if I have a chance," Lin Chen waved his hand and laughed. Then, he turned around and dashed towards the bodies of the 2 ferocious beasts. I seem to have heard of the name Lin Chen. Lin Chen of the spiritual state? Lin when this old man left Firmament Tower a month ago to collect forging materials, I heard of this name. I heard that there was a huge change in the spiritual state and a young man who could challenge 4 war emperors appeared. His name is Lin Chen. Challenging 4 war emperors alone? Many masters gasped as they watched Lin Chen take the most valuable parts of the 2 beasts and leave. None of the 10 half-step emperors and hundreds of Yuan venerates present dared to stop him. Who the hell would dare to stop him? Based on his ability to kill the true flame purple phoenix, he definitely had the ability to challenge 4 war emperors. However, the problem was that he was only a 6th-level Yuan venerate. Even the descendants of gods couldn't challenge war emperors at the Yuan venerate level. A 6th-level Yuan venerate fighting 4 war emperors? What the f***ck? What was wrong with this world? Lin Chen clicked his tongue in wonder and put away his purple phoenix wings. He was afraid that from this moment on, his speed would be invincible among the Yuan venerates of the Jiuzhou continent. The 2 girls followed closely behind Lin Chen. Some masters hesitated and chose to follow Lin Chen. However, they kept a distance from each other. A young man like him was unpredictable, and it was unknown whether he was a friend or a foe. The past few days had been too abnormal. Even the grade 7 beasts that usually stayed in their nests and never came out had a life-and-death duel and fought all the way to the Golden Prison mountain range. If they were to encounter another Class 7 dire beast, they would at least have a monster like Lin Chen with them. Lin Chen, can you tell me how you did it just now? Luo Wei couldn't help but be curious. I just said that I shot a lonely arrow. Lin Chen shrugged his shoulders. How could such a thing be explained clearly? Just as Lin Chen and the two girls were flying away from the Golden Prison mountain range, 5 figures appeared and intercepted the 3 of them. Damn it, kid! Where are my men? Brother Fu, could it be that this brat killed our men? Cut the crap, Brother Fu. Let's avenge our brothers. Let's kill this little bastard and pry out his spiritual secret. The 5 late-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates surrounded the 3 of them and sealed off all their escape routes. Spiritual secret? So the people who ambushed us in the dire beast tide were your subordinate. Interesting. This time I'll kill them all. Lin Chen had an ominous glint in his eyes as the purple rainbow bow appeared in his hand and he executed the quadruple transformation instantly. His cultivation advanced to the mid-stage of the 6th level. Damn it, this little bastard. He really discovered our whereabouts. I want to see what a mid-stage 6th level Yuan Venerate can do today. Suppress this kid with all your might later. Don't give him a chance to resist. Brother Fu gave the order as battle chi surged between the 5 of them. The winds and clouds in the void surged as if a great battle was about to break out. At that moment, the group of powerhouses following Lin Chen in the distance were suddenly shocked. Why had he stopped moving? When many powerhouses slightly activated their battle chi and focused their attention, what they saw was Lin Chen's action of drawing the bowstring. This action instantly sent chills down the spines of countless powerhouses and sent chills down their spines. The corners of their mouths twitched a few times. They would never forget that the true flame purple phoenix that had killed many of its peers had been killed by this young man's simple drawing of the bowstring. Oh no! Prince Lin Chen is going to shoot. Oh my God, he's going to shoot a lonely arrow again. Prince Lin Chen. Don't shoot, we haven't run yet. Many powerhouses were scared witless as they hurriedly fled. As they retreated frantically, they constantly used their battle chi to transmit their voices. He shot a lonely arrow? Just as Fu Ji was puzzled, Lin Chen suddenly released his grip on the bow and 870,000 dragon power points exploded out. Streaks of light arrows surrounded by light calamity and lightning calamity battle chi spiraled out of the bow and shot towards the 5 of them. Oh no! What kind of attack is this? While the 5 of them were shocked, they frantically activated their life-saving weapons and fled in all directions. However, the speed of Lin Chen's arrows was so fast that any 9th-level Yuan Venerate would feel despair. In a flash, they easily pierced through all their defenses. Lightning streaked across the entire sky. When the light tribulation battle chi swept past, all 5 of them were killed. Chapter 506. Lin Chen had activated the piercing and charging runes for this move, the Purple Thunder Arrow. Coupled with a top-quality low-level purple-tier archery skill and a 7th-tier warbow, as well as Lin Chen's high elemental attribute increase, its might was explosive. He could kill 5 late-stage 9th-level martialists in seconds without using the ultimate moment. The Azure Dragon swooped down and took away their attribute light balls. Lin Chen snatched away their spirit storage rings and gave them to the 2 girls beside him before swaggering off. The Yuan Venerates behind him patted their chests and gasped for air. Their hearts were still pounding and they were drenched in cold sweat. They were terrified when they saw the young man draw his bow. How could they not be? Anyone who had seen him kill the true flame purple phoenix in seconds would be terrified, let alone them. Even the Battle Emperor would be terrified. Lin Chen returned to Main City Number 1 and went straight to the mission hall. He had earned 200,000 firmament dollars, which was enough for him to buy some top-notch treasures to help him become stronger. Luo Qingyu and her sister were the same. After finding the remains of their ancestor, they had not only inherited a large amount of inheritance, but they had also received 30,000 firmament dollars from Lin Chen. In order to establish a foothold in Firmament Tower, one had to be powerful. Otherwise, if they were targeted, they would be on the chopping block once they left the main city. Origin returning 5 spirit chi, obtained from the 5 elements destruction vortex in outer space. It contains the ultimate energy of the 5 elements and can be used to repair weapons. Price: 90,000 firmament dollars. Superior low-tier grade 7 sword, Heavenly Chief Demon Slaying Sword. It is noble and righteous. Its power is unparalleled. It has a special effect against the demon-human race. Price: 60,000 firmament dollars. Green level trial token. One can enter a green level trial Mystic Realm once. Price: 10,000 firmament dollars. Lin Chen spent 160,000 firmament dollars to buy all 3 items. He was left with 50,000 firmament dollars, but he did not regret it at all. After spending another 1,000 firmament dollars to buy a high-tier cultivation room, Lin Chen went into seclusion. He opened the system and tapped on the fusion function. System: I want to fuse the Origin returning 5 spirit chi with the 5 dragons Imperial Spear. A system received. This fusion is part of the artifact forging process and only requires 8,000 heavenly Tao points. A ball of 5-colored energy floated into the air and fused with Lin Chen's 5 dragons Imperial Spear into the fusion furnace. Boom. Ding. In the next breath, the system's screen popped up. Fusion complete. 90% of the 5 dragons Imperial Spear's original power has been restored. Rank: High grade, intermediate rank 7. High rank 7, intermediate grade. Lin Chen's 5 dragons Imperial Spear was once again restored to the rank of a 7th grade weapon from a quasi-7th grade weapon. It was even restored to the mid-7th grade. If it was sold in the Firmament Tower, it could be sold for at least 250,000 firmament dollars. However, Lin Chen would not sell it. This spear could be said to be one of his lifeblood. Lin Chen asked the system. System: if I activate the fusion function and use these 2 swords as the main fusion material and other weapons as support, will I be able to fuse a high-grade sword? The system replies to the host, yes. Assistive fusion can also add materials such as grade 7 ores, grade 7 direbeast cores, and so on to increase the probability of producing high-grade combat weapons. Okay. I want to fuse with the Green Abyss Soul Severing Sword and Heavenly Chief Demon Slaying Sword as the main fusion material. The Aurora Eye and Yin Yang Sacred Wheel as support. In addition to the Thunder Goshawk's Dire Beast Core, Green Dragon Stone, Blue Demon or Thunder Essence. The Aurora Eye was Soul Mobai's quasi-7th grade weapon. As for the Yin Yang Sacred Wheel, it was a strange 7th grade weapon that consumed his life force to quickly recover his injuries and battle aura. This item required one's life force to use. Lin Chen had the Heavenly Path attribute pickup system, so it was impossible for him to use this item. Other than that, he also added 10 types of 7th grade ores. He believed that this fusion would definitely produce a brand new mid-7th grade weapon. However, he didn't know whether it would be low-grade or high-grade. All the materials and weapons specified by the host have been registered. This fusion will consume 65,800 Heaven's Path points. Are you sure you want to fuse them? Yes. The moment he issued the command, all the materials and weapons, with the 2 7th grade swords as the main fusion material, were all fused into the system's fusion furnace. Boom. Ding. When a screen appeared, Lin Chen's expression changed from shock to ecstasy. In the end, he was dumbfounded. In the Golden Prison mountain range, two figures with majestic auras floated in the air. One of them was dressed in blood-red robes. He was enchanting and charming, like a ripe peach. The other person carried a saber and had a gloomy and cold expression. He was the master of the heavenly cloud manor, Unpatian, who was at the early second level of the War Emperor realm. At this moment, Unpatian was staring at the vast corpses of the two seventh-grade dire beasts and the two collapsed valleys. Endless anger surged in his eyes. The inheritances of Pill Emperor Bai and Cloud Emperor have been stolen? Damn it, who did this? Yun Potion's anger shook the universe. The crystal walls within 100 miles were instantly shattered into a vacuum by his battle aura. It was not easy for him to find the 5 elements stone mountain. After collecting the 5 types of energy, he let each energy slowly fuse into the stone mountain. He also had to use the spiritual energy of the sun, moon, and stars as a guide to open the stone door to the cave where the 2 emperors had fallen. For this, he even specially bought the heavenly cloud manor, which faced the densest spiritual energy of the sun, moon, and stars. He placed the stone mountain in the center of his manor and used the spiritual energy of the sun and moon as a guide. He originally thought that in the main city where battle aura could not be released, no one would be able to see the secret of the stone mountain. However, there was always a flaw. He could not have expected that a person with top-level appraisal skills would sneak in from the cleaning mission he casually issued. Lin Chen. Brother Tian, don't worry. There must have been a drastic change in this place. The 7th-grade dire beasts would not easily leave their territory. Since someone killed them here, it must be the person who took the inheritance. It's highly likely that it was done by the person who stole the inheritance. With our connections, we'll be able to find it with a little investigation. The red-robed woman tried to calm him down, but there was also a hint of viciousness in her eyes. She had approached Yunpatian because she wanted to share this secret with him, but she didn't expect that her many years of preparation would end up in someone else's hands. Damn it! When I return to the main city, I will personally drag this bastard out and tear him to pieces. Lin Chen's Yellow Class Trial Secret Order had selected the 5 Elements Trial Secret Realm. He was teleported to a secret realm that was divided into 5 regions. The 5 basic elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth were divided into 5 areas. Lin Chen walked through these 5 areas and constantly collected a large number of elemental light balls. Host has received 2 fire elemental energy, 4 wood elemental energy, 3 metal elemental energy, 1 water elemental energy. Although the quality of these elemental light balls was average, there were many of them. Different secret realms had different rules. The 5 Elements Trial Secret Realm was specially managed by half-step emperors. Although battle aura could be released here, no one was allowed to fight. A token could only allow one to enter the secret realm for 3 days, so Lin Chen had to race against time. Chapter 507. Lin Chen even released the shrunken manifold black-green dragon and his 2 doppelgangers to snatch away all the attribute light balls. His doppelgangers and green dragon were in charge of collecting the attribute light balls while Lin Chen's main body cultivated in the 5-element mystic realm. The 5-element energy there was extremely dense and was very suitable for Lin Chen's 9 calamities of creation cultivation technique. Lin Chen was sitting in a lotus position at the peak of a volcano in the 5-element mystic realm. He let the fire-based energy roast him without moving an inch. As the 5-element energy vortexes were absorbed into his body, Lin Chen was still not satisfied with the current situation. Thus, he took out the grade 6 peak elixir pill he had refined earlier, the 10 tribulation body forging elixir. This elixir had the miraculous effect of tempering one's body and breaking through one's cultivation base. Lin Chen's current cultivation base was enough for him to absorb it all by himself. Today, I will break through my cultivation base in the next 3 days. Lin Chen swallowed the 10 tribulation body forging elixir, and his 4 battle chi natal palaces frantically absorbed the energy that had transformed into fiery dragons. They entered his natal palaces and absorbed frantically. Not only did this violent fire-based energy cause Lin Chen's battle chi to soar rapidly, but his pure power also soared. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the 5-element mystic realm, Lin Chen's 5 elemental attributes had all increased by more than 400 points. In the last hour before Lin Chen left the 5-element mystic realm, a fiery dragon-like aura roared in the mystic realm and surprised many powerhouses. Congratulations, host, for reaching the initial stage of the 5th level Yuan Venerate. Lin Chen exhaled. His pure power had already risen to 750,000 dragon power points. A 25% increase for a divine power point meant that it was equivalent to 940,000 dragon power points. Indeed, 1 million dragon power points is an important dividing line. When I activated the God Slayer, the 1 million dragon power points in my body contained pure power that far exceeded my current level. Although there isn't much of a difference between 940,000 dragon power points and 100 dragon power points, there is actually a huge gap. Lin Chen clenched his fists, got up and teleported away. Returning to the trial hall, Lin Chen was just about to use his newly purchased green trial token when a few old men hurriedly passed by him. Their comments attracted Lin Chen's attention. Hee, the old devil actually went out for the first time. Did this brat become stupid from refining pills? You don't have a good memory. It's the day of the peak elixir gathering in Danzhou. It's said that the top 3 will be able to obtain a mid-7th level superb weapon, a mid-7th level superb elixir recipe, a 7-colored saint source, and a purple level alchemy handprint. Motherf *Ker, a purple tier alchemy hand seal. If it's placed in the firmament tower, it can be sold for at least 1 million firmament dollars. I've heard that the 7-colored saintly source isn't an ordinary object either. It can help one's spiritual power break through on the spot. It's said that it's a divine object that can help one's spiritual power break through from the transcendence stage to the reaching heaven stage. A treasure that so many alchemists yearn for even in their dreams. The heated discussion stunned Lin Chen. The peak elixir gathering? The last time he represented the Yang family to participate in the small elixir gathering, he had obtained a spot to participate. Motherf *Ker, how can I miss out on this gathering? Lin Chen licked his lips with excitement in his eyes. Just from the top 3 treasures, any 1 or 2 of them would be valuable treasures. I'll leave the firmament tower first and come back after the peak elixir gathering. After Lin Chen made up his mind, he immediately left to purchase a permit to leave the firmament tower. Firmament Tower, main city number 1. Lin Chen walked on the street in a hurry. He ran all the way and found out that there were less than 7 days to register for the peak elixir gathering. Isn't that the brat Lin Chen who defeated the immortal descendant Mo Zixiao a few days ago? He ran to main hall number 2 to buy a permit to leave the firmament tower. Quick, go and inform the Mo family about this. We'll definitely gain a lot. When some of the experts with sharp eyesight saw Lin Chen's figure, they were instantly overjoyed. They took out the permit that they had already bought and ran toward the portal. Cleaner Lin Chen? This brat killed the true flame purple phoenix with a purple tier body movement technique? Looking at the large amount of information collected by his subordinates, Yun Patian crushed it, his ferocious face full of anger and murderous intent. He did not expect that he, Yun Patian, who had been on the path of cultivation for more than 10,000 years, would be defeated by a young man. This young man was the only one who had entered his mansion in a short period of time and appeared in the Golden Prison Mountains a few days later. Moreover, he had mastered a purple tier body movement technique. The Cloud Emperor once had a famous purple rainbow bow when he was alive. The bow that this young man used to kill the true flame purple phoenix was the Cloud Emperor's bow. Everything was clear now. The inheritance of the two emperors had been taken away by this young man. Lord Yun, our informants saw that the young man went to buy a permit to leave the Firmament Tower. At this time, a guard sped up to report. Yun Patian stood up abruptly and grinned maliciously. Damn it, just in time. This time, I will crush every bone in his body. Quickly gather all the guards at the 9th level of the Yuan Venerate realm. I want to capture this young man alive. According to the eyewitness report, this young man also had a purple tear body movement technique. Yun Patian planned to mobilize all his forces just in case. If you have nothing to do in the main city, don't blame us for being impolite if you take the initiative to leave. The coquettish woman stared at the young man's portrait in the report, licked her scarlet lips, and smiled eerily yet charmingly. Divine Land Mo Family Branch, Dragon Hall. At this time, a group of elders was in seclusion. Suddenly, 2 guards of the Mo family rushed in with an urgent report. Seniors, we have received urgent news that Lin Chun has bought a permit to leave the Firmament Tower. Lin Chun of the spiritual state? This young man has only been in the Firmament Tower for a few days, yet he dares to come knocking on our door. Gather all the people in the branch and move out. 2 obscure and hoarse voices came from the Dragon Hall, and the other voice sounded hesitant. Why don't we inform the main family first? With just the 2 of us, will it be insufficient? Old Xian, when did you become so cowardly? Do you really believe the legends about him in the spiritual state? Even the descendants of the great gods can't defeat the War Emperor. How can this young man, who isn't even at the 5th level of the Yuan Venerate realm, overturn the heavens? Furthermore, this place is hundreds of millions of miles away from our main family's headquarters. By the time the news reaches here, this young man will have already escaped. Let's move out now and capture this young man for the young master to deal with. 2 old men, one in green and one in blue, appeared in the air. The old man in blue smiled maliciously. Lin Chun of the spiritual state. This emperor will personally meet you. I will let you come to the divine land. How dare you offend the descendants of the great gods? Death will be a relief for you. Lin Chen's actions caused a huge uproar. The situation changed abruptly. Chapter 508. After getting the permission to leave, Lin Chen couldn't wait to rush into the teleportation channel. A permission to leave the Firmament Tower cost 500 firmament coins, but he could directly enter the tower the next time he came back without any examination. As soon as he stepped out of the teleportation channel, hundreds of people rushed toward him. What the hell? Are all of them going to rob us? Yun Patian is leading the team, and he even brought his own people. What are they going to do? There's going to be a good show to watch. I heard that Yun Patian has been collecting information about that Lin Chun brat recently. Just now, that brat had just left Firmament Tower and this group of fellows had already rushed out. The masters lurking in the main city secretly observed the situation. Among them, there was a black-robed figure that was different from the crowd. This slender figure was like a ghost in the main city where battle chi couldn't be used. Only the eyes could see the figure clearly, but they couldn't sense a trace of his aura. Some of the older generation masters and even battle emperors narrowed their eyes when they saw this black-robed figure. They were shocked and even terrified. If Lin Chun was here, he might be able to recognize that the black-robed man he had met that day in the Heavenly Spirit List Great Assembly was this person. Under the cloak, a pair of beautiful purple eyes flashed as she murmured to herself. Lin Chun? The teleportation channel only lasted for 15 minutes before Lin Chun was teleported to the entrance of the Firmament Tower. When Lin Chun returned to the godly land, the people gathered at the entrance of the Firmament Tower glanced at him casually and froze on the spot. This young man's handsome face. It's so familiar. Isn't this the Lin Chun of the spiritual state who is known to fight the descendants of the gods? My goodness! This must be Lin Chun, right? He has only been in the firmament tower for a few days. How can he come out so quickly? Does he have some force supporting him in the firmament tower? He dares to come out so openly. Now the entire godly land is looking for him. While the passers-by were sighing in amazement, some of the experts were itching to make a move. They had the desire to make a move. As long as they could capture Lin Chun and offer him to the gods' descendants, they would be able to obtain purple rank martial arts, tens of millions of spirit crystals, and 7th rank weapons. Sigh, it's not good to be too handsome. You'll become the center of attention wherever you go. Lin Chun lifted his bangs and couldn't help but take out an antique mirror to look at his handsome face. At this moment, the spatial teleportation channel behind him rippled slowly as a group of people cursed. Motherf *cur, this Lin Chun couldn't have run away, right? No. We caught up to him not long after he entered the spatial passageway. With Lord Yun Patian here, he won't be able to escape today. I think I heard someone say that I'm handsome behind my back. Lin turned around and smiled confidently. Those who want an autograph, stand on the left. Those who want a hug, stand on the right. Only beauties. Before he could finish, the 100 or so people who had just appeared were all stunned. Lin Chun was also stunned on the spot. The 100 or so men stared blankly at Lin Chun, who was waving his hand. The middle-aged man who was leading the group also had a gloomy and ferocious expression on his face. Sigh, why does this big brother look so familiar? So it's Yun Patian. He seems to hate me a lot. Is it because I'm so handsome that his mistress fell in love with me? That doesn't seem to be the case. F***ck. Yun Patian? Both sides only took half a breath to react. Yun Patian suddenly raised his hand and his battle chi surged. Lin Chun instantly spread out his purple phoenix wings and flapped them slightly. His figure flashed like moonlight and rushed out of the entrance of Firmament Tower. He flashed 1,000 miles away. Bang! The moment Lin Chun left, the spatial passageway he was in instantly collapsed and became a vacuum zone. The terrifying battle chi's aftershock overturned many of the experts present. Everyone was dumbfounded. This battle emperor actually tried to kill him as soon as he saw him? Why did it feel like not only did Lin Chun not have any power in Firmament Tower, but he had also provoked a powerful battle emperor in such a short period of time? F***ck. How is this brat so fast? The corner of Yun Potion's mouth twitched. When he saw the purple phoenix wings on Lin Chun's back, his pupils shrank. Purple phoenix wings? Go after him. F***ck. When I catch this brat, I'm going to roast his chicken wings. Yun Patian waved his hand and distributed a wisp of his battle chi to everyone. Everyone's speed suddenly increased, and they instantly rushed in the direction where Lin Chun had left. This guy is crazy and wants to mess with me. Could it be that he knows that I'm the one who took away the inheritance of the 2 battle emperors? Lin Chun turned into a beam of light and swept across the void like a sonic boom. He turned his head slightly and looked at the 2 battle emperors and hundreds of people who had surrounded him. My speed is getting faster and faster. No, I can't hold back anymore. Lin Chun used the Azure Dragon possession and pushed the dragon force to the maximum. He infused it into the purple phoenix wings. The wings were flowing with purple-red flames, and the throbbing veins were bursting with blazing heat. When he was competing with the true flame purple phoenix in terms of speed, Lin Chun still had to rely on the ultimate moment talent to burst out with the speed comparable to a low-grade battle emperor. But now, relying on the purple phoenix wings and moonlight hazy shadow, Lin Chun's speed was comparable to or even faster than the true flame purple phoenix. A series of terrifying sonic booms resounded through the sky. Lin Chun had traveled thousands of miles in the divine continent in just a few breaths. His movement skill is similar to Cloud Emperor's moonlight steps, But how is this brat able to use it so fast? Seeing that Lin Chen was about to leave him behind, Yun Patian waved his hand and issued an order. Use the myriad wind pill. We have to take this brat down no matter what. Many experts exchanged glances and took out a high-grade rank 6 pill from their spirit storage rings. They swallowed it instantly and their speed soared. Yun Patian took the lead. As he circulated his cultivation technique, he suddenly increased his speed. Rays of light formed under his feet. This was his half-purple rank movement skill, star-stepping constellation. With the strength of a battle emperor, his speed was quite fast. Just as Lin Chen was about to use the 9 brilliance transformation to leave these guys behind, a thunderous roar came from hundreds of thousands of miles away. Damn it, Lin Chen has been discovered. All of you, surround him. I want him alive. Capture him, and bring him back to young Master Mo Zixiao as a reward. Another 100 yuan venerate experts appeared in the void. The two leading them were battle emperors. They were from the Mo family. What the F***ck? If this is a welcoming ceremony, the scene is a little too grand. The corner of Lin Chen's mouth twitched violently. 4 battle emperors had appeared in one go? His God Slayer fragment was not ready yet. What was he going to do now? Suddenly, Lin Chen looked at Yun Patian and the others behind him and smiled. His smile was as coquettish as ever. He deliberately slowed down his speed and maintained his figure not far in front of Yun Patian and the others, making him look like Yun Potion's group. Before Yun Patian could react, he took out a level 6 saber and activated several types of apocalyptic battle constitutions. His battle aura soared into the sky as he shouted fiercely with a ferocious face. Brothers! Follow me! We are going to fight the Mo family! We are going to fight the descendants of the F***king gods. What F***king gods? They are all F***king bullsh***. Beat them to death. Once these words were spoken, the Mo family experts were completely enraged. F***ck. You want to fight the Mo family with just 2 battle emperors? I think you must have eaten sh**t and don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You motherf***curs. Beat these sons of bitches up for me. This brat has only brought 2 battle emperors and he dares to provoke the Mo family? He is going against the heavens. The Mo family's blue-clothed elder shouted angrily and led the Mo family experts to attack Yun Potion's group. Yun Patian was stunned and the corners of his mouth twitched violently. Wait a minute, everyone from the Mo family. Wait your F***king head. Watch my saber. An earth-shattering explosion of battle aura resounded through the sky. The 2 forces instantly engaged in a battle. They were fighting. They were all fighting. Just because of Lin Chen's words, the Mo family had not even figured out the situation and were already fighting with Yun Potion's group. Lin Chen. Lolalala, lolalala, lolalala. Chapter 509. Once the 2 sides exchanged fire, there was no room for explanation. They fought as soon as they saw each other. 4 battle emperors and more than 200 yuan venerates fought. The entire sky above the Lingyun mountain range turned dark, as if the end of the world had arrived. Yun Patian and his group were aggressive in their pursuit of Lin Chen. When Lin Chen pretended to blend into their group, it created a scene where he led a group of people to challenge the Mo family. In the end, it was precisely because of the Mo family's accumulated hatred for Lin Chen that a battle broke out before the 2 sides could even talk. Lin Chen was as nimble as a loach as he left the battlefield in a few moves. He put away the violet phoenix wings and wielded the saber in his hand as he swiftly swung and slashed repeatedly. Saber chi crisscrossed and charged into the crowd. That's Lin Chen. Don't let him escape. How dare he hurt our young master Mo Zixiao? Kill him and give him to the young master. Many half-step sovereigns locked onto Lin Chen and slapped him with their palms. Some battle techniques were used consecutively, bursting forth with streaks of light. Lin Chen's moonlight hazy shadow was like a rainbow. Every time he took a step, faint moonlight would circulate and shift the void. Even without the purple phoenix wings, Lin Chen's movement technique and speed were definitely not something half-step sovereigns could catch up to. What's wrong? Is this all the Mo family can do? Lin Chen had a mocking look on his face as he slashed 2 9th-level Yuan venerates with his saber, forcing them to retreat. On the other side, 4 battle emperors were exchanging blows in an instant. Cracks like giant pythons appeared on the spatial crystal wall as a boundless starry hand grabbed at the beautiful woman beside Yun Patian. She gritted her teeth and waved her sleeves. She pointed with her slender hand, and an energy finger light that tore through the clouds tore through the universe. While shattering the hand made of stars, another saber force that could scare away ghosts and gods came slashing down. Clang! Bang! The sword light turned into a meteor, and after repelling the blood-colored saber, Yun Patian held his grade 7 sword and shouted sternly, "Don't be mistaken. We are not in cahoots with Lin Chen. Although your Mo clan is powerful, you can't do whatever you want." Bullsh *T. Not in the same group? Then why are you still following him? The blue-clothed battle emperor of the Mo family slashed out again without any explanation. The red saber light was like a waterfall, slashing in all directions. Yun Potion's rage soared to the heavens. He abruptly thrust out his sword, shattering the saber light. At the same time, he continuously took a few steps back. Countless saber energies scattered across the mountain range and flattened the earth veins of several hundred miles. That's not right. Old you, look at them. They're also trying to capture that brat. They're not in cahoots. We've been tricked. Another green-clothed old man from the Mo clan suddenly shouted coldly, causing the people of the Mo clan to be stunned. The blue-clothed old man stared fixedly at Lin Chen's figure. He realized that everyone's target was him. They were not a group. "Brother, you're the sensible one. I've already said that we're not on the same side. That brat is my target. He stole my things," Yun Patian said hurriedly. He did not want to offend the Mo clan, but the most important thing right now was Lin Chen. If they let this crafty brat escape, it would not be so easy for them to find him again. "Brat, you actually dared to play us battle emperors in the palm of your hand. You have some tricks up your sleeves. However, I've already seen through you. Die." The blue-clothed old man's hand formed a claw and grabbed in the direction of Lin Chen with the controlling crane capturing dragon. "Everyone, stop. He's not our target," the green-clothed old man shouted coldly. Both sides finally let go of each other. There were casualties on both sides. The space froze and Lin Chen's figure was tightly bound. When a battle emperor attacked, the strength of a Yuan venerate was difficult to resist. "Brat, you've made us run around in circles with this show of yours." The blue-clothed battle emperor sneered as the 4 battle emperors rushed to Lin Chen's side. "Your Excellency, this brat stole my things. I only want him to return what he deserves, and we'll leave immediately." "I'll leave him to you." Yun Patian cupped his fists in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. The 2 old men's hearts skipped a beat. This person had not retracted his aura yet, so he must have already made his stance clear. If the 2 of them did not agree, they were afraid that he would explode. The 2 old men were naturally not afraid of these 2 people. If the top powerhouses of the Mo clan were here, Yun Patian would not have a chance to speak. However, if they were to fight now, letting this brat escape was the key. Forget it. Even if this brat has some secrets, our young master Mo Zixiao is more important. The blue-clothed old man pushed Lin Chen in front of Yun Patian. "Ha ha ha ha." Suddenly, Lin Chen looked up to the sky and laughed. There was a trace of pity and ridicule in his eyes as he looked at Yun Patian. "Damn it, brat. What are you laughing at?" Yun Patian was so angry that his veins were popping out. "I'm laughing at how stupid you are. You've lived for so many years. Have you returned to the stomachs of dogs?" Lin Chen's laughter was filled with ridicule and sneer. It was as if he was completely uninvolved, as if he was not caught at all. You still dare to humiliate me? I think you're courting death. Yun Patian originally wanted to return Lin Chen to the Mo clan in one piece, but he could not suppress his fury. He waved his hand and his battle chi chopped off one of Lin Chen's arms. A strange thing happened. Although Lin Chen's arm was chopped off, there was very little blood. They even felt a trace of strangeness on Lin Chen's body. Something's not right. This brat doesn't have a single soul ring on him. At this time, the beautiful battle emperor beside Yun Patian suddenly exclaimed. Everyone's eyes swept over. Indeed, there was no aura of a soul ring. Sigh, the feeling of being handsome and smart is really boring. When Lin Chen shook his head, Yun Patian's pupils shrank. Could it be? He slammed his palm down and smashed Lin Chen into nothingness. As expected, his figure turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared. Fake? This was a doppelganger. This brat ran away? The two battle emperors of the Mo clan looked gloomy. When they were fighting, their attention was always on Lin Chen. When did he run away? Why was there no movement at all? Most importantly, this doppelganger of his couldn't be distinguished at all. It could be passed off as genuine. We were careless. The information mentioned that this brat's doppelganger technique was superb, comparable to the power of young master's bloodline. The old man in green sighed. In the vast divine land, where were they going to find Lin Chen? No. He can't run away. Yun Patian suddenly laughed evilly. As soon as he left the firmament tower, he fled in the direction of Danzhou. If I'm not wrong, he left the firmament tower to attend the pinnacle elixir assembly in Danzhou at this time. As long as he arrives at the elixir assembly, it will be easy to capture him. Chapter 510. The instant Lin Chen was in the chaotic battle, he had already secretly unleashed the illusion rune. He purposely retracted his purple phoenix wings. Then, when he was in the midst of a battle between many half-step emperors, he used the azure dragon vanishing shadow to conceal his presence and quietly played a trick on the four battle emperors, causing them to run in circles. After he used the camouflage function of the spirit illusion cloak, he rushed to the Sunset City and left the Divine Land through the spatial tunnel. Yun Patian and the others, who had sensed Lin Chen's intention, chased him all the way to the Sunset City and entered the spatial tunnel right after Lin Chen. Lin Chen focused on cultivating the Genesis Holy Scripture in the spatial tunnel. While increasing his spiritual power, he also spent 6,000 points to inherit 4 scrolls of 7th-grade pill recipes. The Pinnacle Pill meeting would gather all the alchemists in the Dan province. Moreover, this competition was not limited to the younger generation. Many famous alchemists would also appear. There might even be some reclusive old monsters who had been refining pills for tens of thousands of years. To compete with people of this level, 6th-grade pills would definitely be useless. Only 7th-grade pills could be used. To be honest, even Lin Chen was not confident that he could get first place. His goal was only to be in the top 3. System, I want to learn the 10,000 Spirit Creation Seal. Inheriting the 10,000 Spirit Creation Seal requires 19,000 points of middle-grade technique essence. Is the host sure? Damn, another 20,000 points of consumption. If this continued, when would he be able to collect 400,000 points to upgrade the system to version 5.0? Thinking of the many rewards in the Pinnacle Pill meeting, Lin Chen gritted his teeth. Sure. System received. 19,000 points of middle-grade technique essence has been deducted. Inheriting the purple low-level alchemy seal, the 10,000 Spirit Creation Seal. During the time in the spatial tunnel, Lin Chen had not only inherited the alchemy seals, but also kept refining the Pill Emperor Bai's memories and the alchemy experience from the Han family. When these vast amounts of knowledge converged, Lin Chen would constantly have new ideas and new alchemy knowledge. It would help his alchemy skills to improve. Apart from that, he didn't neglect the Taisher Holy Scripture either. In just a few days, he had cultivated nearly 700 spiritual seeds. His spiritual power had reached a new level. 6 days later, in Danzhou, the peak elixir gathering would be held in the Holy Elixir City in the Elixir State. It was jointly held by the many renowned alchemy families of the Danzhou. It was the highest standard alchemy ceremony in the 9 regions. It attracted countless experts from the 9 continents. There weren't too many rules for participating in this convention, but every 9 prefectures' alchemist could only participate once in their lifetime. Furthermore, the lowest standard to participate in the convention was an alchemist who possessed Tier 6 strength. After going through numerous selections, the lowest rank to enter the Peak Pill Assembly was a Tier 6 advanced alchemist. In any place in the 9 prefectures, he could be called a Grandmaster Alchemist. In Holy Pill City, VIP Area 3, the upper echelons of the Yang family were eagerly waiting. The beautiful and pure woman in the lead was looking around with her beautiful eyes, unable to hide her anxiousness. Could it be that Prince Linchen really doesn't plan to come? This is the Peak Pill Assembly, an opportunity that many alchemists dream of. Even if this little guy doesn't want to give face to the Yang family, he should at least give face to the Pill Assembly. What should we do? Could it be that our Yang family is going to retreat without a fight? At least we got a spot, but the elders of our family, who are Tier 6 advanced alchemists, have all participated in the Peak Pill Assembly. If this little guy doesn't come, then let the young miss go. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The young miss has touched upon Tier 6 advanced alchemy skills. At least, no one will dare to gossip about our Yang family. The upper echelons of the Yang family snorted in disappointment. It was already the last half of the day for the registration. If this little guy still hadn't appeared, then he probably wouldn't come. In the central square of Holy Pill City, there were 4 rows of seats arranged side by side. There were also 2 rows of seats in the air, which belonged to the VIP area. At this time, there were already more than 10,000 alchemists in the hall. These 10,000 alchemists were all from various continents in the 9 prefectures. Of course, almost half of the alchemists here were from Danzhou. This showed how terrifying the alchemists in Danzhou were. In the hall, the 4 young men and women in the center had outstanding temperament. The men were born to be supreme, and their expressions were arrogant. There was a sense of arrogance in their bones. The women were either captivating or beautiful. The pride between their brows was even greater than the former's. They were the strongest alchemy prodigies in Danzhou. They were strong contenders for the top 10 spots in this Peak Pill Assembly. Do you think that Yang Pinghua, who uses 9 alchemy furnaces, will come? A graceful girl in green twirled her slender fingers and played with the ends of her hair as she casually asked. Since when did young Miss Min pay attention to this kind of crooked trash? The best he can do is to refine Tier 6 advanced alchemy pills. He's still far from us. White robes, a feathered crown, and a jade belt around his waist, the young master held a fan and smiled disdainfully. Oh my, from your tone, it sounds like you can use 9 alchemy furnaces at the same time. The young man who was biting on a pill essence berry chuckled, causing a hint of anger to surge in the young master's eyes. Alright, they're not even here yet. What's there to talk about? Our opponents this time should be those old seniors. The beautiful girl in a blue dress with long hair waved her hand. Her cold and elegant temperament and long, snow-white legs attracted the attention of countless men. They could only be seen from afar and could not be touched. Every contestant that entered the arena would be announced by the judges from Danzhou. Outside the assembly hall, the arrogant registration elder kept the register and slowly stood up to announce. The registration for this Peak Pill Assembly is officially closed. Bang! Suddenly, a hand slammed the register back onto the table. A young man's panting voice could be heard. I, Yang Pinghua, am here to register. It was a simple sentence, but it caused everyone present to turn their heads and stare at his departing figure. This name was too resounding in the current donjo. He was not inferior to the top alchemy prodigies. You're Yang Pinghua? Looking at the undisguised young man in front of him, the registration elder was shocked. You're Yang Pinghua? That's right. He's the one who represents the Yang family in this Peak Pill assembly. To be precise, he's Lin Chen. Yang Qinger took light steps and quickly walked to Lin Chen's side. She pursed her cherry lips and rebuked him with a hint of resentment. Why are you only here now? We all thought you were going to forfeit. I met a group of crazy suitors on the way. They kept asking me for my autograph. Heya, it's so annoying. They kept shouting for kisses, hugs, and raised me up high. They accidentally wasted my time. It's really annoying to be too handsome, Lin Chen said half-jokingly. If the people of the Mo family and Yun Patian heard this, they would be furious. Suddenly, a series of exclamations came from the crowd. Wait, Lin Chen? Yang Pinghua is Lin Chen? Is he Lin Chen of the spiritual state? Chapter 511. Lin Chen entered the venue of the Peak Elixir Gathering. The last contestant is the representative of the Yang family, Lin Chen of the spiritual state. This name didn't fit in with the name of the representative of the Yang family. The vast audience looked at the entrance of the tunnel in surprise and confusion. The young man slowly walked to the entrance. Facing the gazes of millions of masters, he looked calm and steady, and each step he took was firm and steady. Strange. Isn't the representative of the Yang family Yang Pinnacle? How come he is called Lin Chen? No. Lin Chen is Yang Pinnacle. The two of them were one and the same. I just received this news from the entrance of the venue. Lin Chen of the spiritual state. Is he the young man who fought against the 4 emperors alone? I've heard about the drastic change in the spiritual state. He is so young. Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, he can't be a match for Battle Emperor level masters. This kid might be hiding a big secret on him. No matter if he has external help or not in this world, people only care about whether you have power or not where your power comes from. Heated discussions broke out in the audience. Some of the emperor-level masters of the Danjo state cast sharp spiritual gazes at Lin Chen, trying to see through him. Ordinary alchemists would have had a nervous breakdown long ago being stared at by so many eyes, scared witless until they pissed their pants. This was the Peak Elixir Gathering. Emperors gathered here, and each of them was more terrifying than the last. Lin Chen quietly circulated the Genesis Holy Scripture, and the spiritual pressure disappeared from his body, which surprised many emperor-level masters of the ancient families of the Danjo state. He looked calm and relaxed, allowing those masters to see through him, including the 10,000-year Black Azure Dragon in his natal palace of Battle Chi. He was calm as if he didn't care about them at all. His trump cards were all in the system. He didn't mind letting them see through these external things. What a miraculous technique! He can divide his spiritual energy into many parts and remove the pressure from us. This kid is extraordinary. I can't see through him. This junior is interesting. Apart from the Battle Emperor from Danjo, the rest of the top prodigies from Danjo all stared at Lin Chen with battle intent. Alchemy was their home ground. How could they let someone from another state take the lead? A young master dressed in white and wearing a feathered crown walked out with a fan in his hand. He stood in front of Lin Chen and sneered, "So you are Lin Chen, Scram?" Lin Chen didn't even look at him. The white-clothed man was so angry that he was fuming. What about you? I don't talk to people who aren't as handsome as me. Move aside." The white-robed man. The girl in green beside him covered her mouth and tried to stifle her laughter. She was very cute. On the other side, the young man in embroidered clothes was secretly pleased when he saw the white-clothed young master suffer a setback. Many powerhouses in the audience exclaimed in surprise. This young man did not lose his edge even when facing the top heaven's favorites of the donjo. No wonder he was the #1 dark horse outside of the donjo. Prince Lin Chun of the spiritual state, I hope you can bring us the same legend as you did in the spiritual state. Otherwise, you won't be able to live up to your reputation. The beauty in blue said coldly as she narrowed her eyes and stared at Lin Chun. As you wish. Lord Yun, I saw that kid. Humph. He is indeed here for the peak elixir gathering. Following closely behind Lin Chun, another group of people entered the arena in a single file. They were the Mo family, Yun Patian, and the others who were chasing after Lin Chun. They entered the venue with their own people. When they saw Lin Chun, they sat in the front row of the audience seats facing Lin Chun. When the elixir gathering is over, let's see where this kid can run to. I'll make sure he can't escape. How dare he play tricks on me? If I don't break a few of his bones, I won't be able to vent my anger. The old man in blue stared coldly at Lin Chun's back. At that moment, Lin Chun suddenly turned around. His seat was right in front of the Mo clan's spectator seat. Oh my! Aren't you the big shots of the Mo family? Suddenly, Lin Chun was in high spirits as he snickered. Didn't you want to kill me just now? Come on, I'm right in front of you now. Come and kill me. Stop staring at each other. I'm standing right in front of you now. Don't tell me that the Mo family, which claims to be the descendants of the gods, doesn't even dare to touch a puny Yuan venerate like me? After saying that, Lin Chun slapped his butt and said arrogantly, Come on, hit me. If I frown today, I'll change my surname to Mo. What's wrong? Hurry up and hit me. Don't you guys want to *CK me up? Hit me here. Take out your sandbag-sized fists and hit me hard. Why aren't you talking? Hurry up. I'm begging you to hit me. I'm dying. Hurry up and hit me. Many of the audience members were stunned. Everyone from the Yang family was stunned. The veteran battle emperors who had been praising Lin Chun a moment ago were also stunned. Lin Chun's unfathomable appearance from a moment ago had instantly collapsed in everyone's hearts. Where the *CK did this lunatic come from? Did the Yang family invite the wrong person? The two battle emperors of the Mo family, Yun Patian, and the rest were furious as their killing intent soared. This brat actually dared to provoke them so brazenly? What made them even more speechless was that one person wasn't enough. Lin Chun had even created a phantom doppelganger that was doing the same actions as him. The two Lin Chun continuously slapped their faces as they moved closer to the audience seats. Hit me with a hammer and I'll split open. With a knife, I'll split it in half. With a sword, I'll make a hole with a stab. Experts, what's wrong with you? Weren't you very fierce a few days ago? Why are all of you having erectile dysfunction now? I've already put my handsome face in front of you for you to hit. Why aren't you doing anything? Men, when it's time to be tough, you should be tough. Don't turn into spineless cowards. Look at your cowardly faces, humph. Trash. The blue-clothed battle emperor of the Mo family was so angry that his mouth was about to become crooked. This was too *King intolerable. This brat was relying on the fact that this was the venue of the Pinnacle Elixir Assembly and his identity as a participant to prevent anyone from touching him. The Pinnacle Elixir Assembly was jointly organized by all the ancient families in Donjo. Even a family as strong as the Mo family, who was a descendant of God, did not dare to offend the entire Donjo. If they were to make a move here, they would be looking down on the rules set by many families in Donjo. They would be attacked by all the families in Donjo. Excluding their own accumulated strength, the ancient families in Donjo could be said to be the most powerful force in the Jojo continent. With the terrifying number of alchemists they had, and even the hidden 7th-tier alchemists, they could summon many experts in the Jojo continent and even the Firmament Tower to work for them. At that time, the Mo family and Yun Patian would not be enough. Unless the 5 families who were descendants of God joined forces, or the hidden Hun family made a move, they would not be able to fight against the ancient families in Danzhou. Seeing that the other party was hesitant to attack, Mr. Lin became even more arrogant. He took out a zither and an eru, and even started to play and sing in front of the Mo family. You send me away, thousands of miles away, you make no sound. How did he start to sing? Chapter 5:12. In the eyes of others, Lin Chen's behavior was simply unreasonable. It was as if there was something wrong with his head. Even the members of the Yang family started to doubt themselves. Did Yang Qing'er recognize the wrong person? Was this really the Yang pinnacle who had reached perfection in alchemy? However, in the eyes of the experts of the Mo family and Yun Patian, this kid was simply despicable. Aleph * King kill you. The blue-robed old man was about to stand up in rage, and his battle chi was about to erupt. Third Elder, endure. Be patient. If we fight here, we will be causing trouble for the Mo family. I'll endure your son of a bitch. Lin Chen, this kid, was bragging, singing, and dancing in front of them. The experts of the Mo family spent a lot of effort to temporarily suppress the anger of their third elder. Even Yun Patian almost couldn't hold back his anger. They had become battle emperors and had never been humiliated like this. F***ck. When the pill assembly is over, I will definitely tear this kid into pieces. I won't cripple this kid. I won't be able to get rid of the hatred in my heart. Just as Lin Chen was about to sing, "What kind of man are you?" a judge warned Lin Chen through telepathy. Contestant Lin Chen, this is the Pinnacle Pill Assembly, not your personal performance. Please restrain your inappropriate behavior. Otherwise, I will make you lose the right to participate in the assembly in the name of violating the rules. Hearing the judge's warning, Lin Chen could only sigh regretfully. I have only shown 7 or 8 talents. I still have 99 talents that I want to show to the members of the Mo family. Hearing this, the corners of everyone's mouth twitched. 7 or 8 talents were already enough to drive the 4 battle emperors crazy. Show another 99 talents? Are you still human? An old man in a white robe stepped out of the void and laughed loudly. The rules of this pill assembly will be the same as before. I think everyone understands. Prepare your own ingredients, and there is no limit to the number of pills. The highest grade and highest quality pills will be ranked. We have the most complete alchemists in the 9 prefectures to appraise the contestants. Time limit, 30 days. Contestants, please bring out your best masterpiece. The white-robed old man waved his hand and tens of thousands of alchemists lit up their furnaces. The scene was so grand that it made everyone's blood boil. Only one person did it, and this caused many experts' mouths to twitch. When they saw the 9 pill furnaces in front of Lin Ming, some veteran powerhouses almost cursed out loud. Why the F***ck do you have 9 pill furnaces? Are you kidding me? This was the peak pill assembly. Could it be that you dared to say that participating in this kind of event was convenient? Lin Luoran takes out his dozen or so spirit storage rings, scratches his head and smiles awkwardly. I'm sorry, I've been a little poor recently. I'm so poor that I only have a pill furnace left. After he finished speaking, he put away his 9 pill furnaces. Only then did the irascible referee's expressions soften a little. No matter how talented he was, it would be an insult to the Pinnacle Elixir Assembly if he dared to not use his full strength in such a competition. At this moment, Lin Chen was facing a very serious problem. He wasn't joking just now. He was really poor. I've messed up. I actually forgot to prepare the herbs. I originally wanted to buy a batch of herbs from the outside world after leaving the Firmament Tower, or directly go to the Yang family's pharmacy to get them. I didn't expect to be hunted down by the Mo family. Now I have no time to prepare. Lin Chen, who was sweating profusely, was in a dilemma. He didn't lack 7th-grade herbs, and he had hundreds of them. However, every 7th-grade herb had a very complicated medicinal effect. It needed to be combined with many sixth-grade herbs to neutralize its medicinal effect. Only then could it be perfectly integrated into the elixir. Lin Chen only had 1,000 sixth-grade herbs left. This number didn't meet the minimum requirement to refine 7th-grade elixirs. Lin Chen simply put down a soft chair and lay down. His hands were behind his head like a salted fish. His eyes were fixed on the sky, and his thoughts were constantly churning. Once the elixir assembly started, the participants were forbidden to have any contact with the outside world. It was too late to ask the Yang family for herbs now. What should I do? Could it be that I racked my brains to run out of the firmament tower just to embarrass myself here? Sigh, if my handsomeness could be used as herbs, would I still need to worry about not having enough herbs? Seeing Lin Chen lying motionlessly in the hall, some of the higher-ups of the Yang family and the veteran battle emperors from Danzhou couldn't help but frown. What the hell is this kid doing? Could it be that he doesn't know how to refine elixirs? Or did the Yang family find the wrong person? From the way this kid controlled his mental strength, he should be a high-level alchemist. How could he not know how to refine elixirs? The higher-ups of the Yang family, can this kid do it? Miss, could it be that you found the wrong person? It doesn't matter if he doesn't get a high ranking. At least don't embarrass the Yang family. At this time, the smart Yang Qinger's face changed slightly. She exclaimed, could it be that he lacks herbs? Yang Qinger's words woke everyone up. The higher-ups of the Yang family also came back to their senses. Thinking back to the small elixir assembly, Lin Chen refined 28 elixirs in one go. The amount of herbs he used was unprecedented. At the same time, in order to collect herbs for refining elixirs, he even helped others to refine elixirs on the street. When Yang Qinger saw the way the Mo family members looked at Lin Chen, she realized that something was wrong. Prince Lin Chen might really have met with some trouble on his way here and didn't have time to prepare the herbs. Oh no, what should we do now? That kid is not moving at all? Ah. He's just a piece of trash who came here to embarrass himself. Refining elixirs is not a battle. It's not something that can be passed with the help of external forces. The 4 top elites of Danzhou looked at him differently. The white-robed man even mocked him with disdain. He felt a sense of satisfaction in his heart. He activated his alchemy hand seal and sucked dozens of herbs into his 7th-grade alchemy cauldron. Looks like I don't have a choice. Who would have thought that it would become my only hope now? Lin Chen leaped up from the bench, and his eyes regained their usual tenacity and fighting spirit. It was burning with the determination to cut off all means of retreat. Finally, he took out Alchemy Sovereign Bai's 7th-grade cauldron, the White Dragon Shocking Crane cauldron. Many reclusive alchemists from Danzhou nodded in agreement. This kid is finally going to show his true strength. But in the next moment, all the experts and reclusive alchemists from Jiuzhou stood up in shock. Their eyes were fixed on Lin Chen. He held the 7 Stars Resurrection Flower, the Starlight 1,000 Demonic Vines, and the blood-purple golden marrow in his hands and pushed them into the cauldron. He did not use any supplementary herbs. Is he crazy? He's only using 7th-grade herbs. How is he going to stabilize the power of the herbs to refine elixirs? Nonsense. This kid must be messing around. Who would refine elixirs like this? The energy contained in 7th-grade herbs cannot be fused alone. While the entire audience was in an uproar, only the eyes of the 3 white-robed old men sitting on the platform in the void flashed with a rare glimmer of light. They, who had been silent for 100,000 years, revealed a trace of interest for the first time. The move Lin Chen was going to use next was countless times more difficult than refining a 7th-grade elixir. But he had no other choice. Without the herbs, he could only take the risk. He was willing to sacrifice himself to drag the emperor down from his horse. Chapter 513. using only a small amount of heavenly and earthly treasures to refine a high-grade elixir. I'm afraid that's the only way. I can't be wrong. Even us old fellows would have to use our full strength to use that kind of ultimate skill. I didn't expect this young man to dare to use such a method at such a young age. There are many geniuses in the history of the 9 provinces. There will always be 1, 4, and 1. Let's just wait and see. After all, that kind of ultimate skill consumes a terrifying amount of mental strength. Perhaps only a few people knew that Lin Chen had not lost his mind. Instead, he was giving it his all. Clapping his hands together, Lin Chen's hands flashed with lightning. First, it was the 1,000-flash lightning palm. Streaks of thunder calamity battle chi flew into the furnace, removing the impurities from the 7 stars resurrection flower, starlight 1,000 demonic vines, and blood-drop purple golden marrow. Then, it tore apart their energy shields. 7th-grade medicinal herbs were extraordinary. Every single one of them had a way to automatically protect their owner. Their innate energy shields could protect their pure spiritual energy and spirituality from being lost, allowing them to grow safely. Once their energy shields were torn apart, it meant that the medicinal herb would begin to lose its medicinal properties and efficacy in a short period of time. 1,000 lightning eclipse, instant 1,000 hands. The speed at which Lin Chen formed hand seals was even faster. His hands turned into countless afterimages, and the thousands of afterimages caused everyone to be dazzled. An electric net of thunder calamity battle chi wrapped around the medicinal herbs in the furnace, preventing them from losing their medicinal properties. At the same time, a wisp of lightning pierced into the medicinal herbs like a needle, carefully extracting part of their essence. When part of the essence of the 3 medicinal herbs was extracted, Lin Chen waved his hand again. 2 10,000-year-old netherworld spirit fruits were thrown into the furnace, causing many alchemy grandmasters to shudder in fear. 5 now. 5 7th-grade medicinal herbs were refined together without adding any supplementary herbs to neutralize them. What if he caused the furnace to explode? What a powerful technique! Using a blue rank advanced hand seal, it's half a purple rank. Interesting. Old man Chi, what do you think? Sitting in a row behind the Yang family, an old man in a green robe among the 5 or 6 old men asked with a smile. The old man with red eyebrows chuckled and said, "In terms of technique alone, this boy is not inferior to you or me. According to the preliminary calculation, he should be at the level of the early 7th stage. However, the move he is going to use is difficult, extremely difficult. It is difficult to the extent that I dare not imagine." What's the success rate? There is no chance of success. It will definitely fail. With his Transcendence Realm mind power, I'm afraid he'll exhaust all of his mind power before he reaches 1/50th of it. At least his courage is commendable. This old man doesn't even dare to think about such a supreme skill. These old men had clearly sensed Lin Chen's intentions. What is he going to do? Min Qingluan, one of the 4 heavenly legends of Dan Province, asked curiously. The girl's expression was full of confusion. Don't bother with what he's doing. Refining Tier 7 medicinal herbs without using supplementary medicinal herbs, unless he's a Tier 8 alchemist. Otherwise, it's simply impossible to do it. One of the 4 heavens' favorites, Ji shook his head. Although he was curious about Lin Chen, it was impossible for him to do so. That good-for-nothing will definitely fail. This time, let the 4 of us decide who's the winner. Zhao Baiyu, one of the 4 heavenly legends, sneered and suddenly changed his hand gestures. His 10 fingers quickly turned into shadows. Terrifying mind power and battle chi of water dragons were injected into the alchemy furnace, and the wind and clouds suddenly changed. Purple level alchemy handprint? It's the Zhao family's sky dragon water seal, low level and medium level of the purple level. Min Qingluan pouted, as if she was unwilling to admit defeat. Humph, is low level and medium level of the purple level very powerful? Her slender and fair hands rotated, and her 4 fingers formed a circle. Phantoms of birds and beasts, such as vermilion bird, mystic bird, bifong and so on, fell from the sky. They were lifelike and very stunning. It's the 100 birds phoenix handprint of the Min family. It's said that it's a low level and high level of the purple level. In this case, I can't lose. Jiyu smiled. His hands suddenly shook and turned into a whirlpool. As he pushed, the clouds rolled and the wind rose. The G family's 1000 pill wave technique. Low level and medium level of the purple level. Oh my god, there are 3 kinds of purple level alchemy handprints in one breath. 3 of the 4 heavenly prides stunned everyone as soon as they made their move. Only the 4th person, the blue-dressed beauty, Han Yushi, had her eyes fixed on Lin Chen from the beginning to the end. Why? In the end, what kind of unyielding belief made him insist on doing such an unreasonable thing? This is clearly a consummate technique that only an alchemy giant above the 7th rank could attempt. In the end, he doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. What can he do with his mind power of the great accomplishment stage of the Dharma characteristic realm? There are at least more than 10 perfected Dharma characteristic realm mind power cultivators here, but it's impossible for them to touch that kind of skill that only exists in legends. Just as everyone was still wondering why Han Yushi didn't show her strength, a few more auras came from the other side of the venue. Another 3 kinds of purple-level alchemy handprints were born. They were 3 veteran alchemists from other big state. The sharpness that they showed was no weaker than the 3 heavenly prides of the pill state. The venue was completely boiling. Every alchemist was very interesting. This was the peak pill assembly. But at this time, there was only one person who was completely free from this noisy world. That was Lin Chen. He had never been so focused before. He was completely in the state of alchemy. After the initial refinement of the 2 underworld jelly spirit fruits was completed, Lin Chen suddenly changed his alchemy handprints. 10,000 flash lightning hand for the creation 10,000 spirit seal. The 7 fingers on both hands formed a boundary, and pure white battle chi turned into a stream of energy, starting from the handprints. Rumble! The wind and clouds suddenly changed. A towering phantom stood proudly in the void. The phantom's face and expression were exactly like Lin Chen's. His tyrannical aura danced wildly, and his hands were forming the exact same seals as Lin Chen's. Another purple-level alchemy handprint? Many experts looked at Lin Chen in shock. Judging from the aura, this kid's alchemy handprint seemed to be much stronger than the 6 alchemy handprints displayed in the venue. Yun Patian said in shock, Alchemy Sovereign Bai has a purple-level alchemy handprint, but it seems to be far inferior to this kid's handprint. Why does this kid have so many secrets? Although I don't know what you want to do, you are underestimating the thousands of years of 9 prefectures' history of alchemy by using the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique with your spiritual power. At this time, Han Yushi transmitted a message to Lin Chen, and Lin Chen smiled. In a person's life, there are always a few times when they are in a predicament and need to press forward. Why bother with those complicated common sense? I only know that when a person turns the tables in a hopeless situation, the pleasure will make you feel so good that you can fly to the sky. When Lin Chen grinned, his palm suddenly shook, and an even more earth-shattering scene swept through the entire venue of the Peak Pill Assembly. Streams of energy turned into a river of spirit chi and formed a vortex, gathering in Lin Chen's alchemy furnace. At this moment, many level 6 and level 7 alchemists finally came to their senses. What was Lin Chen trying to do? A level 7 alchemist who had lived in seclusion cried out in shock, and his voice was trembling. He only used level 7 herbs as the main ingredient, heaven and earth as the furnace, spirit chi as the supplement, fortune as the skill, and spirit chi as the spirit. This is the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique, and only level 7 alchemists are qualified to touch upon it. Chapter 5:14. Hearing that reclusive alchemist's words, many alchemists sucked in a breath of cold air. This was a heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique that only existed in the primordial age or the early ancient age. It was said that in that era, there was a legendary figure who predicted that no matter how amazing one was on the path to becoming a stage 7 alchemist, if one could not use the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique, they would never be qualified to become a stage 8 alchemist. Isn't this too crazy? How old is he? How dare he try to reach this realm? It's impossible. This technique is harder than refining stage 7 pills. Moreover, the ancient alchemists who used the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique all had mental strength that had reached the heaven ascension realm. He's only at the transcendence realm. How could he have enough mental strength to maintain it? Some of the reclusive alchemists who had heard of the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique shook their head. Lin Chen's actions were completely whimsical. It's actually the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique. This kid is too crazy. The Yang family head was amazed. As a stage 7 alchemist who had been reclusive for a long time, he knew very well what this technique meant. Boom! More than 10 fire pillars shot up into the sky, and the aura suppressed the entire area. Hundreds of herbs were refined into the pill furnace smoothly. A yellow-robed elder suddenly became the focus of the entire area. Purple level mid-grade alchemy hand seal. Oh my god! The top 3 alchemy hand seals are only low-grade purple level mid-grade alchemy hand seals, right? Many experts sucked in a breath of cold air. This level of alchemy hand seals could already be ranked in the top in the entire 9 states. That figure seems to be old man Qing Yang, right? Haha, it should be. He went to search for an ancient relic a few years ago and was heavily injured in the end. He must have obtained this mid-grade purple level alchemy hand seal from that relic. The 3 white-robed elders sitting on the stage laughed. The appearance of the mid-grade purple level hand seal had completely pushed the peak elixir assembly to the peak. Even the 4 great prodigies were suppressed to the point that they lost their luster. Time passed by slowly. Everyone was immersed in the alchemy banquet brought by the alchemist. On the 5th day, a loud explosion attracted everyone's attention. Boom! The energy vortex exploded. Lin Chen's pill furnace emitted the sound of energy shattering. Lin Chen himself was blasted back several hundred meters by this energy, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. The energy within the pill furnace continued to overflow and rise into the air, dissipating into a cloud of mist and drifting between heaven and earth. Failure. After 5 days of using the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique, he failed as soon as he switched to the second step. Sigh, in the end, he's still too inexperienced. His courage is commendable, but his accumulation isn't enough. If he is given a certain amount of time, perhaps he will be able to achieve great things. But now, it's still too early for him to reach this realm. The 3 old men sitting in the void shook their heads and sighed. With this defeat, Lin Chen had almost lost the qualifications to participate. If he wanted to recover the energy he had consumed this time, he would need even more time. At that time, there would not be much time left for him to refine medicine. Of course, he should still be able to refine a top-notch 6-tier pill, so he wouldn't lose too badly. I'm afraid this kid won't be able to recover from this setback. Perhaps refining medicine this time will become the biggest inner demon in his heart, stopping him from moving forward. Haha, to fail in such a situation and have to accept this blow is not something an ordinary expert can bear. Perhaps, his life's achievements will stop here. The 6 reclusive 7th-tier alchemists, who had seen through Lin Chen's thoughts earlier, shook their heads and sighed softly. Just as the sea of people sighed for Lin Chen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. the fighting spirit in his eyes growing stronger. Looks like my conjecture and alchemy sovereign Bai's senior were not wrong. The heaven and earth spirit absorption technique is divided into 3 stages, and the transformation of the spiritual energy state is the most difficult. I'm not done yet. I can still refine it. Would spirit essence technique. Ultimate restoration. Consumed 1600 talent points to activate ultimate restoration. Replenishing host's battle chi and spiritual energy. Unexpectedly, in the next moment, Lin Chen flipped over like a carp and stood up. His eyes shone with an even more tenacious fighting spirit. He grabbed with one hand, and another 6 7th-tier herbs floated in the air and threw them into the furnace. When the creation 10,000 spirit seal was activated, everyone was shocked. What? How did he recover so quickly? That's not right. Shouldn't his spiritual energy have been exhausted when he used the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique? Why are you still so lively? This? He's laughing maniacally. My God, what kind of tenacious state of mind is this? While all the experts were shocked speechless, Lin Chen's lips curved into a wild smile. There was a kind of fierceness that was like a barefooted person who was not afraid of wearing shoes. Failure is nothing. I, Lin Chen, have failed many times. A man who is afraid of failure is not qualified to be the most handsome man in the 9 prefectures. Phantom doppelganger. Ultimate restoration. The talent points and rune energy decreased by another point, and a doppelganger with the same aura as Lin Chen appeared beside him. The two of them had a tacit understanding and formed a hand seal at the same time. 2 10,000-meter-tall phantoms stood in the hall, their auras looking down on the world. Multiple manipulated spiritual energy grew crazily, following the formation of the pill refining hand seals, causing the refining of the herbs in the furnace to become even faster. The two of them worked together seamlessly. Rumble! The wind and clouds between heaven and earth suddenly changed. Streams of energy turned into a spiritual energy vortex and gathered above the furnace. At this moment, all the 7th-tier alchemists in the hall suddenly stood up. He can still refine? Or is it the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique? He's not rashly crashing into the wall of the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. He really has the ability to challenge it. The spiritual energy is constantly increasing, faster and more precise. His 7th-tier herbs are being refined even faster. It's the spiritual energy of heaven and earth that transformed into auxiliary energy and entered the furnace, replacing the 6th-tier herbs and neutralizing the medicinal properties. The 3 white-robed old men on the empty seats were excited for the first time. He has broken through that bottleneck. He has completed the switch of the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique from spirit gathering to chi condensation. He's too powerful. He immediately summed up the experience from his failure and counterattacked with an even more ferocious aura. But how did this kid recover his spiritual energy in such a short period of time? Lin Chen's spiritual energy was indeed at the great success stage of the Dharma characteristic realm. In theory, he did not have the ability to perform the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. However, his grand beginning Holy Scripture could allow him to control multiple spiritual energies to refine pills. He could achieve alchemy skills that far exceeded those of the same level. Not to mention, he could do the same thing as Lin Chen with his phantom doppelganger. However, the only thing he lacked was the endurance of his spiritual energy. But this was also made up for. That was his ultimate restoration talent. Han Yushi, who was at the side, stared blankly at the silver-robed young man's unruly smile. Her heart trembled slightly, and she seemed to be in a daze. Chapter 5:15. No matter how talented you are on the path of becoming a rank 7 alchemist, You will never be qualified to become a rank 8 alchemist if you are unable to use the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. This saying originated from the immemorial era. As they stared blankly at the silver-robed youth, the same thought flashed through the minds of many hidden alchemist grandmasters. Could it be that this young man could become a rank 8 alchemist? That was a saint-level alchemist. Damn, this young man is quite capable. In the future, if we allow him to grow, he will definitely become an overlord in Firmament Tower. We cannot allow him to grow recklessly. We must kill him in advance. Sitting not far away from Lin Chen, Yun Patian had a gloomy expression on his face. The temperament Lin Chen had revealed this time had already caused him to feel extremely troubled and fearful. If this young man becomes a rank 8 alchemist, he may become the number 1 enemy of the Mo clan. It seems that we have to change our target. Giving him to the young master is secondary. If we can't capture him alive, it's better to kill him. The blue-robed war emperor of the Mo clan also showed a strong murderous intent. According to the rules, all methods used to refine pills belonged to the alchemist. Lin Chen did not violate the rules. Instead, it caused a new wave of discussion. To be able to complete such a high-precision task as assisting in the refinement of medicine, perhaps only the bloodline power of the so-called descendants of the gods would be able to accomplish such a feat. Did you call for reinforcements? The blue-robed war emperor asked the 2 half-step emperors beside him. The 2 half-step emperors immediately nodded respectfully. Yes, Mo Ying and Mo Ming are on their way to the main clan as fast as they can. Good. However, the main clan is very far away from Danzhou. They need to go through the space tunnel to get there and back. They may not be able to make it in the remaining 25 days. Even if there are only a few of us, we must kill this young man. The blue-robed war emperor, Yun Patian, and the others looked at each other and reached a tacit agreement. Capturing Lin Chen alive was not important. They just wanted to kill him. Just by relying on this cloning technique that no one could see through, he was actually able to have the same power as their young master Mo Zixiao. He was even able to become an auxiliary alchemist. As enemies, the 4 battle emperors had all sensed that Lin Chen's body contained unlimited possibilities. In the hall. Are you kidding me? How could a stray dog like him use the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique? How could I be defeated by such a person? Zhao Baiyu, one of the 4 heavenly talents of Danzhou, looked gloomy. He sped up his hand gestures and threw in a large amount of herbs. The rhythm of refining pills was a little chaotic. Some judges noticed his strange behavior and frowned. Although Zhao Baiyu of the Zhao family has a rare talent in alchemy, he is narrow-minded and won't be able to achieve great things. It may seem smooth sailing, but in reality, if you encounter a blow or an even stronger opponent, you will fall faster than anyone else. In terms of temperament alone, this brat Lin Chen is many times better than him. At this time, Lin Chen and his doppelganger were fully immersed in refining pills. The 2 creation universal spirit seals cooperated with each other, and the spirit chi vortex in the sky condensed again and again. It expanded from 10 acres to 100 acres, and it was still expanding. The spirit chi vortex mobilized the most suitable and pure energy, which turned into energy rainbows and shot into the furnace. The 7th-grade medicinal ingredients in the white dragon shocking crane furnace, the cloud desolate suicide flower, the demonic azure vine, and the scarlet blood ginseng fruit. After the energy barrier was torn open, the pure medicinal power that leaked out was refined into a fist-sized ball of energy. The energy vortex in the sky was completely under the control of Lin Chen. As long as his hand gestures changed and his fingertips pointed, the heaven and earth spirit chi would be turned into the most ideal form of spirit chi and shot into the furnace as auxiliary energy. This kind of domineering aura made many young alchemists yearn for it, and their hearts were full of longing and admiration. This was the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. Wherever the eye could see and the fingertips pointed, it would be turned into spirit chi for refining pills. As time passed, more and more alchemists focused their attention on Lin Chen, who was the only one using the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. They were amazed. Another 5 days passed, and Lin Chen had already used the ultimate return to origin 7 times. Although the grand beginning Holy Scripture could be controlled by multiple spiritual powers, Lin Chen's foundation was still at the great success stage of the Dharma characteristic realm. He could not withstand such a terrifying consumption. No pill that could replenish his spiritual powers could compare to his ultimate return to origin. He did not need to refine the medicinal powers at all. He could directly replenish his spiritual powers and expend his battle chi. On the 11th day of the peak elixir meeting, the alchemists in the venue had completely stepped into the right path. Some of them immediately switched to refining pills of a lower level after failing the initial step. If someone failed during this period of time, they would not have enough time to refine a new 7th level pill. Boom! At noon, a terrifying energy sound wave suddenly exploded. It was blocked by the solid spatial crystal barrier, and it did not cause any injuries to the audience or other participants. What happened? It exploded? Who made the pill explode? How could it be so terrifying? It's from Lin Chen's direction. It can't be. Everyone focused their eyes. The shattered energy vortex had dissipated, and the thick energy smoke slowly dissipated. The silver-robed youth's hands were stained with blood. His face was slightly pale, and he was panting. It was Lin Chen. He had failed again. This was the 2nd time. It's over. This kid is still young. He's still a distance away from the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. The 3 white-robed elders sitting in the air slowly closed their eyes, shook their heads, and sighed. At least his temperament and alchemy skills are at the top of the younger generation. If this kid had brought enough herbs, perhaps even the 4 of us from Danzhou would not be his match. Yang Qing'er gritted her teeth and stared at the youth who was blown away by the explosion. The Yang family's upper echelons sighed deeply. This kid, although defeated, was glorious. At least in these 2 attempts, he had already proven himself. No one would look down on him anymore. Right at this moment, Lin Chen stood up once again and patted the dust off his body. His entire body was circulating with a pure wood-type battle aura to heal his injuries. At the same time, he took out a self-made cigarette and lit it up. He took a deep puff and his expression was calm and relaxed. When he walked to the cauldron again, the air around him trembled slightly. This time there were actually 2 clones. After a slight pause, a terrifying thought appeared in the audience's mind, and they suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that he still wants to continue? Boom. This time, 3 types of creation 10,000 spirit seals were activated at the same time. 3 spiritual shadows stood thousands of feet high in the air. Almost everyone who was watching Lin Chen's situation stood up in shock. Even the 3 white-robed elders sitting in the air were stunned and stood rooted to the ground. He still wants to continue. Oh my God, is he still human? How can he last so long? Chapter 5:16. When Lin Chen challenged the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique for the 3rd time, it completely shocked everyone. No one would have thought that he would be so firm to this extent. If it was another Tier 7 alchemist grandmaster, their mind would have long collapsed. Refine for me. Throwing in 10 Tier 7 herbs at once, Lin Chen glanced at his 213,400 talent point. He smiled indifferently and activated Origin Restoration again. The moment the 3 creation 10,000 spirit seals were used at the same time, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. The 2 doppelgangers were still as smooth as flowing water, without any gaps or pauses. What kind of god-level doppelganger technique was this? The energy vortex converged once again, sending down endless auxiliary spiritual energy into the pill furnace, creating a strange phenomenon. The refining speed this time was more than 4 times faster than before. 2 auxiliary alchemists of the same level were assisting Lin Chen, and their cooperation was flawless. The efficiency was not as simple as 1 plus 1. Could it be that he can really create a miracle? Suddenly, the white-robed old man on the void platform uttered these words. It's too difficult. But I don't know why, but this Lin Chen always gives people the feeling that as long as he hasn't given up, the success rate will never be 0. This old man has not seen this kind of temperament in a person for 100,000 years. It's really strange. Inside the venue, Lin Chen controlled the creation 10,000 spirit seals. This alchemy hand seal was very suitable for Lin Chen to use the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique. It could absorb massive amounts of heaven and earth spiritual energy to increase the spirituality of the herbs. It had unknowingly solved many problems for Lin Chen. Not to mention, the 3 creation 10,000 spirit seals were used at the same time. With that kind of power, it was easy to control the spiritual energy within 1,000 miles. The heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique is divided into 3 steps: spirit gathering, chi condensation, and spirit acceptance. Previously, I had already completed the first 2 steps, further proving my conjecture. When switching to the final spirit acceptance step, it needs to be divided into multiple lines of control, expanding the spiritual energy into the pill furnace. Then, it needs to be distributed to each herb according to the energy required by the main herb. Even though he was in a sorry state, the heated discussion still did not affect Lin Chen. It was as if he was alone in the pill furnace in front of him. All of his attention was focused on the situation inside the pill furnace, not daring to miss a single detail. The more he understood, the more Lin Chen felt that the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique was inconceivable. He had pondered these questions before. Tier 6 pills were already so difficult to refine. What about Tier 7 pills? How much energy would it consume? As for the even more top-notch 8th-level medicinal pills, how exactly were they refined? Now, Lin Chen had already faintly touched upon this answer. With heaven and earth as the furnace, energy as the medicine, creation as the skill, and chi as the spirit. Perhaps this was the most important step to becoming a Tier 8 alchemist. The heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique was the most important dividing line for alchemists. Time passed by minute. On the 14th day, Lin Chen successfully switched from spirit gathering to chi condensation. On the 19th day, Lin Chen finally stepped into the spirit acceptance stage, shocking everyone. Could it be that the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique, which had not appeared in the world for 100,000 years, was going to reappear in the world today through the hands of this young man? On the 20th day of the peak pill assembly, strange phenomena appeared. So beautiful! What is this? I've never seen such a beautiful scene in my life. While many young audience members were screaming, the sea of people in the assembly hall began to cheer. At the scene of the pill assembly, dazzling and magnificent rainbows started to appear in the sky several 100,000 feet above the ground. They were more than 10,000 meters long, spanning across the horizon. These rainbows all came from the pill furnaces of many top alchemists. There were a total of 8 of them. They had already condensed the embryonic pills, and there was an 80% chance that they would successfully refine the finished product. Among these 8 people, there were Dan Province's 4 heavenly prides. This is the pill rainbow. It is the dream of countless alchemy grandmasters to pursue in their entire lives. When a pill transforms to Tier 7, the spiritual nature of the pill is so high that it has already merged with heaven and earth. It will no longer be punished by heaven and earth, and there will no longer be pill lightning. Instead, a beautiful pill rainbow will appear. Legend has it that a Tier 7 pill has 16 pill rainbows. Every 4 pill rainbows are divided into a tier. 1 pill rainbow is low-grade tier 7, while 16 pill rainbows are top-grade tier 7. Some veteran peak tier 6 alchemists shook their heads and sighed. This was the height that they dreamed of reaching in their lifetime. Hearing the exclamations of these veteran alchemists, the young alchemists stared at the pill rainbow in the sky with yearning. This was a scene that only those who stood at the peak could see. Compared to those tier 6 embryonic pills that had already condensed pill clouds and pill lightning, the pill rainbow brought about a tier 7 embryonic pill was even more eye-catching. At this moment, an even more unusual sound erupted. Bang! Boom! An earth-shattering mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and the scene was extremely spectacular. Balls of thick spiritual chi spread out like air waves, disappearing into the sky. Finally, they disappeared into the sky. When everyone looked back, they saw that a few thousand meters away from the White Dragon's shocking crane furnace, a silver-robed youth was already covered in blood. It was Lin Chen. He had still failed. He had challenged him 3 times, and he had failed all 3 times. Although this kid has many secrets, his spiritual power is still at the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm. Yes, if he enters the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm, together with his 2 doppelgangers, this heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique might really be able to reappear for this kid. No matter what, this kid's performance in this peak elixir meeting is enough to leave his name in history. He just entered the final step of spirit acceptance, and is only 1 step away from condensing the embryonic pill. The 3 white-robed elders sitting in the void exclaimed. Lin Chen's tenacity and perseverance had already been recognized by everyone present. He had only lost to age and youth. As long as he was given more time, he would definitely step into a whole new realm. What a pity! Prince Lin Chen's spiritual power is still a level lower than the 4 great prodigies of Danzhou. A senior elder of the Yang family shook his head and sighed. The head of the Yang family laughed instead. Elder Yang Feng, his spiritual power is a level lower than the 4 great prodigies? Let me ask you, how many years have the 4 great prodigies of Danzhou cultivated? Not much, less than 200 years. They're very young. What about Lin Chen? He's only? Elder Yang Feng was completely dumbfounded. He realized that he had subconsciously equated Lin Chen's age with the 4 great prodigies of Danzhou. In reality, they were not even on the same path. Yes, he was only 20 years old. He was not even 21 years old. He had already reached the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm at 20 years old, and he dared to challenge the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique that had not appeared in 100,000 years. He was much, much stronger than the 4 great prodigies of Danzhou. If he was given another 10 years, with his temperament, wouldn't he turn the world upside down? Chapter 517. Prince Lin Chen. You've done a great job. Yang Qing'er plucked up her courage and cheered for Lin Chen from the 2 rows of spectators. Lin Chen patted the dust off his body and winked at the Yang family. Yes, even if he retreats now, no one will doubt his strength. He's just unlucky and didn't bring the herbs. No, on the contrary, many old monsters have taken a fancy to this kid's potential. I'm afraid his legend will sweep through the entire Danzhou and even the Jiuzhou like a terrifying storm. Hey look, why is he going up again? Just when everyone was marveling at Lin Chen's bad luck, he went to the White Dragon's shocking crane cauldron again? What was he going to do? It was already the 20th day of the elixir gathering. He couldn't even refine some of the higher quality 6th-level elixirs. Lin Fan gave her a thumbs up and smiled. Handsome people will never back down. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 clones descended again. Everyone was shocked. He could still increase the number of his clones? The show begins now. Lin Chen was full of pride. As he laughed, he waved his hand, and more than 10 seventh-level herbs merged into the cauldron at the same time. His hands quickly formed a seal, and the 3 clones made the same hand seal. 4 spiritual shadows appeared and merged into the cauldron. Countless powerhouses' mouths twitched. The 4th time. This kid wanted to challenge it a 4th time. He didn't give up after failing 3 times. Wasn't this too crazy? He can condense 3 clones? If he has 3 clones to assist him, there might be a chance. It's not that simple. Although this kid has completed the last step of spirit acceptance, he's still a distance away from forming the embryonic pill. Moreover, you and I know how much spiritual power he needs to maintain the heaven and earth spirit acceptance method to condense the pill, the last white-robed elder said in a low voice. Even they had challenged this technique before. It was so difficult that it defied the heavens. Ultimate Restoration. When Lin Chen activated Ultimate Restoration again, his talent points had already dropped below 140,000 points. In order to verify his previous experience, he had already spent 80,000 talent points. It could be said to be a desperate gamble. There is a price to pay for stepping out of the realm of mortals. Now that I've paid the price, I, Brother Chen, can't refine a 7th-tier medicinal pill. Another 5 kinds of Tier 7 medicinal herbs were thrown in. There weren't any medicinal herbs to assist in neutralizing the medicinal properties. It completely relied on the condensed heaven and earth spiritual energy to assist. All the alchemists watching were alarmed. This was 2F** king crazy. Refining more than 10 kinds of 7th-tier medicinal herbs at the same time, wasn't he afraid of the furnace exploding? 21 days, 22 days, 23 days. Lin Chen was still maintaining the heaven and earth spirit acceptance state in an orderly manner, from gathering spirit to condensing qi. On the 26th day, the transition from qi condensation to spirit acceptance was as smooth as flowing water, without a trace of stagnation. At this time, pill clouds churned in the venue, pill lightning crisscrossed. Tier 6 peak medicinal pills were already beginning to come into being. On the 28th day, endless rays of auspicious light surged into the sky from the venue, and a red rainbow rolled over and over in the horizon. The birth of a 7th-level medicinal pill. Who is it? Whose 7th-level medicinal pill is coming into being? It's the 4 heavenly legends of Danzhou. Among the 4 heavenly legends in the center of the venue, Zhao Baiyu's medicinal pill was the first to come into being. The dazzling red rainbow reflected a pale yellow light. It was a 7th-level low-grade medicinal pill. Boom 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 when the wind roared and shook, Ji Yu's and Min Qingluan's pill furnaces fluctuated violently, and the red clouds condensed and rushed into the sky. In the pill clouds high in the sky, 2 dazzling red rainbows suddenly surged into the sky. Both of them were 7th-level low-grade mid-grade medicinal pills. 2 7th-level low-grade mid-grade medicinal pills came into being at the same time. Damn it, if I hadn't been affected by that guy, how could I have performed abnormally? Zhao Baiyu was resentful, and his eyes flashed with killing intent as he looked at Lin Chen not far away. Haha, the little guy from Danzhou is still a monster after all, but I won't hold back. A black-robed old man dozens of miles away from the 4 suddenly laughed strangely. His hands shook and the red clouds rushed into the sky. In the rolling pill clouds, 2 more bright red rainbows emerged. Another 7th-level low-grade mid-grade pill? No. There are more. A sharp-eyed expert exclaimed. In the black-robed old man's red rainbows, there was a very light cyan color. 3 rainbows. They were 7th-level low-grade high-grade pills. Humph. It's not so easy to win the first place in Danzhou. Han Yushi snorted coldly and clapped her jade-like hands, and the red clouds rushed into the sky again. The rolling pill clouds showed 3 red rainbows, but the third one was extremely faint. Another 7th-level low-grade high-grade pill. All the masters showed their magical skills, and the audience of the Elixir Association screamed again and again. The momentum of those sixth-level medicinal pills was suppressed and dimmed. At this time, it was the home field of the seventh-level medicinal pills. In the end, Elder Qingyang, who had been famous for a long time, actually refined a seventh-level low-grade best-quality medicinal pill with 4 red rainbows, which overwhelmed the audience. The atmosphere of the audience was pushed to the climax in an instant. However, for those alchemy grandmasters who were watching the competition in seclusion, they were staring at the silver-robed young man under the energy vortex. His mental strength was as solid as a rock, and he absorbed all the spiritual energy into the pill furnace. The 4 mental illusions formed hand seals, and his mental strength controlled the countless energy essences in the pill furnace to start fusing, condensing into an embryonic pill. The wind and clouds suddenly changed, and the spiritual energy in the audience suddenly blew in the direction of Lin Chen. Even the 3 white-robed old men sitting in the void were shocked speechless. He's going to condense the embryonic pill. This kid has really reached this step? His mental strength has fluctuated repeatedly these days, from exhaustion to recovery in the blink of an eye. This is too scary. Even 7th-level spiritual pills can't recover as fast as him. What made the 3 alchemy grandmasters unable to understand was how Lin Chen managed to persevere through the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique. Naturally, only Lin Chen himself knew the answer, and that was his extreme return of origin. This time, the full-powered phantom doppelganger had already consumed more than 30 times of his extreme return of origin. His talent points were reduced to less than 100,000 points. Rumble! The void above Lin Chen's head began to surge with pill clouds, and bright red rainbows began to gather. The refined essences in the pill furnace fused into one, turning into a fist-sized embryonic pill. The embryonic pill was successfully condensed. However, the mental strength that Lin Chen needed to maintain the heaven and earth spirit acceptance technique suddenly increased at this moment. His 4 mental illusions began to show signs of wavering. Lin Chen's face turned pale at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not good. This kid can't hold on any longer. The embryonic pill that was formed with great difficulty, is it going to fail again? Just as the 3 white-robed old men were feeling regretful, Lin Chen's robe suddenly shattered. The surging battle chi and spiritual power transformed into a sudden explosion. It's not over yet. The final moment. Chapter 518. Lin Chen and his 3 clones emitted a green glow as they entered the ultimate moment state at the same time. The turbulent energy in the cauldron started to calm down, and the mental strength that was about to break was like a fish back in water. Once again, it absorbed the energy from the spiritual energy vortex in the sky to help condense the pill. However, Lin Chen's talent points were instantly depleted at this moment. 4 uses of 2,000 points of ultimate moment and 2 uses of ultimate moment to replenish his battle chi and mental strength. The ultimate moment could not increase his mental strength, but it could double the effect of Lin Chen's Genesis Holy Scripture. He controlled the final stage of spirit acceptance, and because of this final double, the victor was decided. Damn, what a terrifying consumption. If not for the 220,000 talent points I had before, I wouldn't have been able to refine a Tier 7 pill without enough ingredients. Lin Chen was secretly shocked as he changed his hand seals again. 4 mental strength phantoms stretched out their hand seals and suddenly pressed down, sucking a large amount of heaven and earth spiritual energy into the cauldron. Even the large amount of energy that had leaked out from Lin Chen's failed refinement was compressed. Because Lin Chen was crazily sucking in spiritual energy, the pill clouds in the venue decreased rapidly. The pill lightning of the thousands of Tier 6 alchemists was sucked away by Lin Chen before it could descend. It's stabilized. It's starting to condense into a low-grade pill. The three white-robed elders could not help but leave their seats in the air, wanting to witness this moment with their own eyes. Lin Chen was sweating profusely. The ultimate moment did not reduce his burden. Instead, it increased his consumption. The frequency of him using ultimate moment became more and more frequent. Everyone held their breaths as they stared at Lin Chen. Could it be that a heaven-defying miracle really existed in this aristocratic family? The heaven and earth spiritual energy acceptance that only Tier 7 alchemists could attempt, could it be performed by a young man in his early 20s? If this was in the past, no one present would even dare to think about it. No matter how many Tier 7 pills appeared, all the spectators and even a large number of contestants were staring at Lin Chen in a daze. Come out! Yang Chaos Dragon Pill! With a sudden shout, Lin Chen pushed with both hands, and a red glow shot into the 9 heavens. The vortex of spiritual energy finally transformed into a funnel and spun into the pill furnace. In the next moment, the pill rainbow within the pill cloud surged once more, and a second pill rainbow appeared. A dazzling radiance of spiritual energy exploded from within the pill furnace with a loud bang. Bang! The furnace exploded again. Why did this brat explode 4 times when he was refining medicine? It's over. The shock waves from this explosion were not small. Won't it blow up the pills? Some of the excited powerhouses even wanted to rush into the venue to see the final result. When the thick smoke dispersed, the pill cloud was still there. There were already more than 4 pill rainbows. The youth's upper body was bare, and his streamlined muscles hid explosive strength. His entire body was bathed in blood as he held the Longan-sized medicinal pill in one hand. He was panting, but his eyes flickered with a strong vitality and excitement. 5 red rainbows were shockingly spread out above Lin Chen's head. Everyone in the audience stood up in shock. His expression was excited. 4 rainbows were of the 7th level, lower level, best quality. What about 5? 7th order intermediate. 7th level middle, lower rank. 7th order intermediate? 4 and 5 rainbows seemed to be only one difference, but the actual difference was equivalent to the difference between a 3rd level combat emperor and a 4th level combat emperor. There was a huge gap between the two. He actually succeeded. Han Yushi stared at the youth's figure in a daze. His slightly thin figure now seemed to have a fighting spirit that could support the entire universe. From the beginning, Han Yushi didn't think that Lin Chen would succeed. She had always believed that people should know their own limit. However, Lin Chen's sentence, "In one's life, there will always be a few times when one is in a predicament and needs to press forward courageously," was deeply engraved in her heart. Everyone was only paying attention to Lin Chen's use of the heaven and earth spirit absorption technique. They didn't care about the grade of the pill he refined. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to challenge the 7th level, he would have succeeded long ago. He didn't use any 6th grade medicinal herbs to help neutralize the energy of the 7th grade heavenly material and earthly treasure, but he was able to refine a 7th grade mid-grade medicinal pill. In the history of the 9 prefectures, this kid is unprecedented and will never succeed. What a genius! We might be witnessing the rise of an 8th level alchemist. This kid is really overflowing with arrogance. I didn't even work as hard as him when I participated in the peak pill assembly. The 3 old men who were floating in the air exclaimed. One of them even transmitted a message to Lin Chen. Lin Chen kid, I am Han Ming, the old ancestor of the Han family in the Dan province. Our Han family has a collection of alchemy manuals and handprints from the ancient times. If you have the chance, you can come to our Han family to discuss alchemy. At this moment, the other 2 old men sensed the mental wave emitted by Han Ming. Their expressions immediately changed. This old fox's reaction was quite fast. He threw out an olive branch so quickly. The other 2 old men also emitted mental waves. These three alchemy giants who had always been at the top of the social ladder favored a young man for the first time. "Seniors, thank you for your invitation. If I have the chance, I will definitely go and discuss it with you." Lin Chen grinned and floated the pill in front of him. Then, he secretly used the wood essence technique to heal his injuries. He did it! He really did it! Yang Qing'er cried tears of joy for the first time. Her beautiful eyes gazed at Lin Chen with even more tenderness. "Lin Chen! Lin Chen!" The audience and alchemists cheered Lin Chen's name. He was the last heaven and earth spirit absorption technique that pushed the peak pill assembly to the top. This was a legend that only existed in the ancient times. Today, everyone present was lucky enough to witness it. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they had no regrets in their lives. On the last day, the elixir assembly officially ended. With Lin Chen's heaven and earth spirit absorption technique and his intermediate level 7 elixir, this elixir assembly had come to a successful end. This peak elixir assembly was destined to be recorded in the history books and be passed down through the ages. There was one name that would illuminate the history of the elixir assembly: Lin Chen of the spiritual state. This name would sweep through the entire 9 states after the peak elixir assembly. This young man, who was only 20 years old, had created an unprecedented miracle with his own hands. Throughout the primeval age, and the antiquity age, no one was 1/10 as talented as him. Even the descendants of the gods weren't qualified. Almost no one in the audience was unconvinced. In terms of mental strength, he hadn't even reached the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm. In terms of alchemy hand seals, there was only Elder Qingyang who had intermediate level purple hand seals. In terms of age, he was the youngest in the audience. However, even though he didn't have many outstanding traits, he had carved out a bloody path and conquered everyone with his alchemy skills. For Lin Chen, aside from the alchemy giants who valued Lin Chen, there were still many masters who had their eyes on him. Chapter 519. In the eyes of the experts in the outside world, his cloning technique, the secret technique to rapidly recover his battle chi and spiritual power, and his alchemy hand seals. These were rare opportunities that were hard to come by. Other alchemists all had sufficiently powerful backgrounds, but he, Lin Chen, did not. Ranking of the peak pill meeting. First place, Lin Chen, level 7 intermediate, lower grade. Second place, Qin Yang, level 7 lower grade, superior grade. Third place, fourth place, Han Yushi, level 7 lower grade, superior grade. Fourth place, Zhang Sun, level 7 lower grade. The killing intent in the eyes of the Mo clan and Yun Patian, who were sitting in the audience, was extremely intense. "If we don't kill this kid, he will definitely become the #1 enemy of our Mo clan in the future." The blue-robed elder's expression was cold, but there was still some lingering shock from witnessing the birth of a level 7 intermediate, lower-grade pill. He did not even have the right to enjoy a pill of such a grade. It was actually refined in the hands of such a young kid. From this, one could see how terrifying his future potential was. He could not wait to pray that the pill meeting would end quickly. His Mo clan must kill this kid. Just as everyone's attention was on the champion, Lin Chen, he suddenly seemed to have returned to his previous strange state. In front of everyone, he actually started to grope the ground and the air around the venue. How could it be possible for him to do that? Was there something wrong with his head? Seeing Lin Chen touching the ground and smiling foolishly, the corners of many experts' mouths twitched violently. This kid's style of doing things was really unusual. Lin Chen was laughing so hard that his mouth was about to roll. There were spiritual power attribute light balls everywhere. In the past, Lin Chen had only encountered a few alchemy experts in his early days. Later on, when he fought with other alchemists, most alchemists' spiritual power was not as good as his. Therefore, they did not drop many attribute light balls. However, it was different this time. In this peak pill meeting, there were at least 7 people whose spiritual power was higher than his. These people were in a state of full concentration, so the number of attribute light balls they dropped was more than the other. Host has received 18 points of spiritual energy, 17 points of spiritual energy, 11 points of spiritual energy, 18 points of spiritual energy, 5,004 points of battle chi essence, 10 points of fire energy. Lin Chen was not the only one who was collecting the attribute light balls. His 3 doppelgangers were also grabbing the attribute light balls. His intermediate spiritual power attribute soared to more than 300 points, and Lin Chen's spiritual seeds soared to 2,000 points. In less than 15 minutes, he was close to the peak of the Deshang stage. Awesome! If I were to go to the place where the 7th-rank alchemists from the ancient clans of Danzhou specially refine pills, then I would definitely reach the peak of the law phase realm. Lin Chen sighed inwardly. It was a pity that this idea wasn't too realistic. With his current strength, if he were to enter any of the ancient families, wouldn't he be like a lamb entering a tiger's den? He had revealed too many trump cards in the peak elixir meeting this time. It was inevitable that someone would have some thoughts and go to any one of them without permission. Within the ancient families, if the other party decided to close the door and attack Lin Chen, it would truly be over. In the end, I still have to rely on myself. Lin Chen put away his little thoughts. When he turned around, he realized that all the experts present were staring at him with surprise and greed. It seems like the advancement of my spiritual power has already been seen through by these old monsters. Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh. He was very magnanimous in his heart. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. He, Lin Chen, had a brilliant plan. He actually touched the air randomly, and his spiritual power increased greatly. I have never seen such a mysterious spiritual power cultivation method before. This kid has a lot of secrets on him. Han Ming sighed in his heart. After today, this kid would become the target of countless experts. The new generation excels the old. Young man, you have done well. At this time, a secret transmission was sent to Lin Chen. It was the eccentric elder Qin Yang. Lin Chen immediately cupped his fists and said, "You're too kind. Senior, you are also very powerful. It's just that my luck is slightly better. After all, handsome people are more fortunate." Haha, you're not just lucky. Interesting kid. Old monster Qin Yang shook his head and laughed. This kid did not have any airs or arrogance. He was the favorite of these old guys. The competition has officially ended. Everyone, please accept your prizes according to your ranking. As the champion, Lin Chen was personally presented with the prizes by the 3 alchemists. The first prize included the 7-colored sacred source and an extremely precious 7th-level mid-grade elixir recipe. Lin Chen had used up more than 120,000 talent points to win the competition. At the end of the competition, he was only left with 98,000 talent points. The consumption of talent points this time was much greater than any of Lin Chen's previous battles. However, he did not regret it at all. This was directly proportional to the results of his gains. Lin Chen accepted the 2 supreme-grade true treasures under everyone's fervent and envious gazes. The 7-colored sacred source could be sold for at least $1 million firmament dollars in the Firmament Tower. The 7-colored sacred source was a rare treasure in the world. There were very few treasures that could break through one's spiritual power, not to mention the 7-colored sacred source that could break through the spiritual power bottleneck between the Transcendence realm and the Ascension realm. The second prize was a low-level, mid-grade purple alchemy handprint and a mid-grade, 7th-level weapon. Although old monster Qin Yang already had the mid-grade purple alchemy handprint, who would complain about having more alchemy handprints, the 7-colored sacred source could be sold for about 700,000 firmament dollars in the Firmament Tower. It was a huge sum that even the War Emperor would be moved by. not to mention the mid-grade, 7th level weapon. The second prize was naturally not low. The pinnacle elixir meeting ended in an unprecedented manner. Everyone was immersed in the aftertaste of the young man commanding the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. They were unable to extricate themselves for a long time. Before leaving the stage, Lin Chen activated the wood spirit essence skill and the ultimate restoration talent once again to adjust his condition to the peak. Because there was still a big battle waiting for him. This kid is really terrifying. Our pinnacle elixir meeting was like a fight between kids compared to him. The student has surpassed the master. It's the age of the young now. The 6 alchemy grandmasters who initially thought that Lin Chen would not be able to use the heaven and earth spiritual absorption technique could not help but sigh. Prince Lin Chen, congratulations! First place in the pinnacle elixir meeting. From now on, the Yang family will need your help. The head of the Yang family walked over with a smile and cupped his fist. Lin Chen could not help but laugh. Head of the Yang family, you are too polite. I still need to thank the Yang family for giving me the opportunity to participate in the pinnacle elixir meeting. The higher-ups of the Yang family at the side kept on praising. Yang Qing'er's gaze towards Lin Chen became even gentler. Lin Chen, you need the help of the Yang family this time. The head of the Yang family sent a secret message to Lin Chen. Lin Chen was stunned and smiled. No need. My enemies are very powerful. It's not convenient to drag the Yang family into this. At this moment, a faint mental message came from behind Lin Chen. Kid, you seem to be in a bit of trouble. Do you need the few of us to help you settle it? It was the 3 white-robed elders with the highest authority in the elixir meeting. Chapter 520. There's no need for the 3 seniors to do anything. I, Lin Chen, have my own way of doing things. Since I caused this mess, I naturally have to solve it myself. The 3 old men looked at the young man's back in surprise and interest. After the elixir gathering ended, many powerhouses were secretly watching Lin Chen. However, he did not use any secret techniques to escape or hide. Instead, he left openly and flew in the direction of the divine prefecture. This made all the powerhouses who were watching Lin Chen move quietly. The people from the Mo family and Yun Patian looked at each other and followed closely behind. Half a day after the elixir gathering ended, in the Burying Soul mountain range in Danzhou, the gloomy mountain range was filled with cold yin qi. Lin Chen had just arrived in the sky above the Burying Soul mountain range when he laughed and sent a voice transmission thousands of miles away. Everyone, I know I'm handsome, but why are you guys following me? I, Lin Chen, don't have any special fetishes. Kid, you didn't even use any tricks and actually dared to walk out alone. Do you really think you can beat all of us? The blue-clothed war emperor of the Mo family led a series of afterimages. More than 200 Yuan venerates and 4 war emperors appeared. Everyone, today is the Mo family of the Divine Prefecture. I hope that some people will not interfere. This kid has a life-and-death feud with the Mo family. I have already asked for help from the Mo family. Anyone who interferes will be treated as a mortal enemy of the Mo family. The blue-clothed old man sent a voice transmission across the sky. His battle aura covered 100,000 miles. The powerhouses who were secretly watching were surprised. The descendants of the Divine Prefecture's Mo family are really tough. How did this kid provoke the Mo family? Sigh, I originally wanted to help him. Forget it, this is not a favor we can help. Many hidden powerhouses sighed. The Mo family did not dare to mess around at the peak elixir gathering because it was organized by all the alchemy families in Danzhou. However, if it were 2 or 3 ancient families in Danzhou, the Mo family would not be afraid. They could even suppress them. Yuanfang, what do you think? Haha, this kid is confident. Let's just wait and see. After all, he is the only one in the 9 prefectures who has the potential to become an 8th-level saint-grade alchemist. If he dies here, we will also be responsible. on the soul-burying mountain range, a certain Lin flicked his fingernails and said something shocking. "Don't worry. Today, I only want to kill everyone here, or kill everyone here, or kill everyone here. Because I, Lin, will definitely not die." Lin Chen smiled confidently. The anger of the blue-clothed war emperor soared to the sky. Monstrous battle chi transformed into a black fog that engulfed the entire area. He stretched out his hand and grasped at the void. A 7th-order low-level ghost-head saber appeared, and he slashed it out fiercely. Black light violently shot out and slashed towards Lin Chen. "Beat him to death!" Yun Patian and the red-clothed woman's battle chi surged violently. These guys actually dared to kill a 20-year-old youth. All the spectating experts were astonished. Ultimate moment five-fold transformation. When he activated the five-fold transformation of 9 Brilliance transformation, Lin Chen's cultivation temporarily advanced to the peak of the 6th level. When his purple-golden eyes saw through all the flaws in the attacks, Lin Chen activated Moonlight Mist Shadow. Whoosh boom! His figure turned into a faint moonlight. When he flapped his purple phoenix wings, he suddenly flew 1,000 miles away. The blue-clothed war emperor and Yun Potion's expressions changed in shock. This kid's speed is actually so fast? Even I can't match his speed. What's going on? He is much stronger than when we were chasing him that day. When they were chasing Lin Chen previously, Lin Chen only used purple phoenix wings and moonlight mist shadow. He didn't even use five-fold transformation. Not to mention that he also had the ultimate moment now. The moment he dodged the attacks of the war emperors, the situation suddenly changed. System, activate Sovereign's Descent. Consumed 10,000 talent points to activate the Sovereign's Descent talent. Entered a state of accumulating energy. The more enemies you kill, the more powerful your next attack will be. Accumulated energy, 0, cooldown time, 30 days. Ultimate moment. Ultimate origin restoration. Lin Chen's shoulders shook. 3 illusionary doppelgangers appeared in the air. They held swords, sabers, bows, and rushed into the Yuan Venerate realm. A terrifying massacre began in an instant. Just as the Mo family's green-clothed war emperor was about to move, Lin Chen pushed both of his hands forward. A grayish-white talisman appeared out of nowhere. Slow talisman. This time, Lin Chen's talisman energy was instantly consumed by 46,000 points. He used an unprecedented slow talisman. When the space around the 4 war emperors froze, their expressions changed. What kind of attack was this? Even the space became slow and solidified? In the next moment, the Jade Sea Aurora ring on Lin Chen's index finger shone brightly. This was the life-saving trump card that the vice principal had left for Lin Chen. It could release 3 attacks that were equivalent to the late stage of the 2nd level of the War Emperor. Azure Aurora ring. A ray of light pierced through the stars and the moon. The 4 war emperors were still bound by the solidified space, and had no chance to escape. Rumble! The aurora lit up the sky for thousands of miles. A terrifying energy storm swept up with the 4 war emperors in the center. Among the 4 of them, the Mo family's green-clothed war emperor and Yun Patian were at the early stage of the 2nd heaven. The remaining 2 were only at the mid-stage of the 1st heaven. This attack was enough to seriously injure them if they were not prepared in advance. However, Lin Chen did not expect this attack to kill them. His target was all the enemies present. While Lin Chen was delaying the 4 war emperors, on the other side of the battlefield, a bloody and chaotic scene was ushering in. Purple light myriad lightning arrow. Soul light thousand desert. The tornado-like saber chi storm twisted a large number of Yuan Venerates and eroded their battle chi defenses. A ray of light and thunder calamity battle chi aerolite penetrated their defensive artifact. All the powerhouses turned pale with fright. This was especially so for Lin Chen's 3rd clone. It held a white sword that was as bright as jade and had a faint greenish-white glow. Every time it swung its sword, it didn't need to use any battle technique. The sharpness of the sword could easily penetrate the defenses of a 9th-level Yuan Venerate and kill him on the spot. The sharpness of his sword shocked countless powerhouses and made them flee. Killed a mid-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate. Accumulated energy, 150 points. Killed a early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate. Accumulated energy, 100 points. Every time someone fell, Lin Chen's sovereign's descent would accumulate more energy. A mid-grade level 7 sword? This kid actually has a sword of this grade. Oh my god, how did he control it? The white sword in the clone's hand was as white as snow. As a faint white glow circulated, the blade of the sword reversed and slashed down. Another late-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate fell. This sword, White Frost Green Rainbow, was a mid-grade level 7 sword that Lin Chen had previously fused with 2 low-grade level 7 swords and a large number of weapons and materials. This mid-grade level 7 sword was so strong that even Lin Chen felt a lingering fear. Every time the tip of the sword pointed, a Yuan Venerate that had cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years would fall. It was more than 10 times stronger than a low-grade level 7 weapon. Chapter 521. Logically speaking, Lin Chen's strength wasn't enough to control a grade 7 mid-grade sword. However, newly fused weapons were like newborn babies. When they were as pure as a piece of white paper, Lin Chen only needed to drip a drop of blood on them to recognize their master. Just like a child recognizing its father, it followed Lin Chen the moment it was born. Most of the time, it recognized Lin Chen as its master rather than Lin Chen subduing it. Roar! Dragon Qi surged and turned into the profound Azure Dragon domain, suppressing the movements of many Yuan Venerates. The Azure Dragon pounced and tore apart 3 early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates before crushing a late-stage 8th-level Yuan Venerate with a swing of its tail. When the Wanzai Profound Azure Dragon used the startling Dragon Roam technique, the purple phoenix wings on its back flapped and swept to the other side of the battlefield like a bolt of green lightning. With a wave of its dragon claws, the Wanzai Profound Light Blade slashed out and killed another 2 Yuan Venerates. Even ordinary half-step sovereigns might not be a match for the Wanzai Profound Azure Dragon with its purple phoenix wings. The Azure Dragon's perfect offense, defense, and speed shocked even the ancient almighties watching the battle. What kind of dragon is this? Why does it have the purple phoenix wings of the true flame purple phoenix? Could it be a mixed bloodline of the dragon phoenix race? That's not right. A mixed bloodline doesn't have the pure Wanzai Profound Azure Dragon bloodline like it does. Even the war emperors who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years were astonished. Lin Chen had too many secrets on him. Extreme watery light. Lin Chen's doppelganger unleashed several purple sword techniques in succession. The watery sword light produced by the White Frost and Green Rainbow pierced the heart of a half-step sovereign, killing him on the spot. The troops of the Mo family and Yun Patian were almost completely slaughtered. When Lin Chen flapped his purple phoenix wings, the black dragon palm smashed the bodies of many Yuan Venerates. It was so fast that it was impossible to defend against. These 200-odd Yuan Venerates were all at mid-8th level and above, yet they were completely unable to retaliate against Lin Chen, his 3 clones, and the 10,000-year profound green dragon. Lin Chen simply wouldn't have been able to slaughter these 200-odd powerhouses if they had been united. However, they were either Yuan Venerates that had been recruited by Yun Patian from the Firmament Pagoda or guest elders of the Mo family. There was no cooperation or tacit understanding between them. They were like a plate of loose sand. The most fatal blow was that this plate of loose sand had encountered Lin Chen, an existence who possessed a low-level purple tier movement technique. The speed of the 3 clones was extremely fast, and each of their moves was filled with charging runes and piercing runes. Under the power of the ultimate moment, it was a one-sided massacre. In less than 10 breaths, almost half of the Yuan Venerate powerhouses present had disappeared. When the energy storm in the sky dissipated, the figures of the 4 war emperors appeared. Apart from Yun Patian and the blue-clothed war emperor, who had suffered light injuries, the other 2 were in a miserable state. This was especially true for the green-clothed elder of the Mo family, whose arm had almost been blown off. If it weren't for the 2 early second-level war emperors, the other 2 might have already been killed by Lin Chen's azure aurora. Let's not gather together. Let's split up and attack him. Lin Chen, you're courting death. Yun Patian and the blue-clothed elder trembled slightly before disappearing through space. Stop his clones from slaughtering our people. The green-clothed elder shouted at the beautiful woman. The 2 of them nodded and stomped their feet, intending to support the one-sided massacre. Myriad lightning sword. Yun Patian moved through space and wielded his Tier 7 sword. Sword chi surrounded by lightning bolts slashed towards Lin Chen from all directions, not giving him a chance to escape. Lin Chen's purple phoenix wings flapped, and the moonlight disappeared with a loud rumble. Countless lightning sword chi slashed and exploded, completely missing. Limitless star-piercing palm. A ray of light shot out like a falling star. Just as Lin Chen's figure appeared, the old and withered palm turned into a 5-foot-long green energy claw. It tore through the void and grabbed at Lin Chen's back. If this attack hit, Lin Chen would die on the spot. Chi. The energy claw slashed down and tore the central region of the Burying Soul mountain range into 2 halves. This time, it missed again. Lin Chen's figure was just an afterimage. Damn it! How can this kid be so fast? He's even faster than the war emperors I know. The blue-clothed war emperor cursed in his heart. He released his battle chi to search for Lin Chen, only to find that he had already rushed towards the other 2. This scene made many experts shudder. A Yuan Venerate dared to take the initiative to fly towards the 2 war emperors. This was a suicidal act. You 2 be careful. That kid is heading in your direction. The 2 of them sped up and surrounded Lin Chen. The red-robed lady and the green-robed old man turned around instantly. Just as they were about to face Lin Chen, he slapped the void with one hand. The rune energy decreased by another 28,000 points. 2 grayish-white runes shot out. The space around them and the speed of their battle chi suddenly became as slow as a tortoise's. This move again? Just as the 2 of them were about to activate their defensive battle techniques, a golden light flashed. Lin Chen held the 5 dragons' imperial spear in his hand and charged forward. The tip of the spear turned in the air and smashed the 2 of them away. The sound of bones breaking could be heard from the green-robed old man's neck. After sending the 2 of them flying, the sword light that resembled an electric snake flew towards them. Lin Chen flapped his purple phoenix wings and disappeared in a flash of light. The sword light missed. On the other side, the 3 clones were continuously killing the remaining 100 Yuan Venerates. The attribute light balls that filled the sky were occasionally absorbed by the clones. Lin Chen's attributes kept rising. Suddenly, Lin Chen's first clone pushed out with one hand and consumed another 40,000 points of rune energy to freeze a large area of space. 40 Yuan Venerates were bound and their battle chi was circulating at the speed of a tortoise's. As he drew his white frost and green rainbow, sword chi danced wildly. Hundreds of lightning tribulation and light tribulation battle chi arrows were shot out from his purple bow. In the blink of an eye, all 49th level Yuan Venerates had fallen. Lin Chen's main body rushed towards Yun Patian with the golden spear in his hand. The latter's expression changed slightly as he unsheathed his sword and shot out thousands of lightning bolts. Unexpectedly, Lin Chen's figure turned into an afterimage. The lightning sword light shredded his afterimage, and a 16,000 points of rune energy slow rune struck Yun Patian's back. Oh no! Yun Patian cursed silently. Before his battle chi could break through the restraints of the slow rune, Lin Chen's 5 dragons' imperial spear came crashing down. The tip of the spear was about to smash into Yun Patian's head when Lin Chen's expression changed. He stomped his feet and transformed into a few afterimages. The withered palm that reached out from Lin Chen's back missed. Damn it, this kid is as slippery as a loach. The blue-robed old man was furious that his attacks missed him time and time again. Lin Chen wouldn't even be able to take one of their palms in a head-on battle. But it just so happened that those strange moves of his could make their battle chi circulate extremely slowly, and he could even freeze space, allowing his sneak attacks to succeed time and time again. At that moment, the clone released another 16,000 points of rune energy slow rune and eliminated the remaining Yuan Venerates. The 4 war emperors, who had yet to recover from their shock, were shocked. Their people were all dead. Chapter 522. In just a few minutes, all the 8th level and 9th level Yuan Venerates, as well as a few half-step combat emperors, had been wiped out by Lin Chen. Lin Chen had the absolute advantage in terms of speed, not to mention the fact that he had activated the charge and penetration rune in each of his moves. He had killed all the Yuan Venerates. However, this was a heavy price to pay. Lin Chen was left with 5,100 rune energy points. The 140,000 rune energy points that he had before had all been used up. These 5,100 rune energy points were obtained by absorbing the attribute light balls that the dead Yuan Venerates had dropped. Lin Chen was left with less than 70,000 talent points. Lin Chen had exhausted almost all of his resources in order to delay the 4 combat emperors. If he couldn't replenish the rune's energy in time, then in the future, when he encountered a combat emperor, other than his speed, he would only have the 2 moves the Azure Aurora that the vice principal had left for him. Although the 2 first-level combat emperors were severely injured, they still had the strength to fight. Not to mention the 2 second-level combat emperors. No matter how fast Lin Chen's movement technique was, if he lost the help of the slow rune, he would be exposed sooner or later under their siege. At that time, any of the combat emperors would be able to kill him in an instant. Damn it, this brat is only at the 7th level of the Yuan Venerate realm after using a secret technique. How could he kill all of us? Yun Patian still hadn't come back to his senses. He wanted to kill Lin Chen, but when he turned around, he realized that all of his men had been killed. This brat's movement technique is very strange. If he wants to escape, we can only stop him by force. I don't believe that he can use the space-sealing secret technique infinitely. The combat emperor in blue was so angry that he laughed. The battle chi in his palm surged and shattered the crystal walls of the space within 100 miles. The red-robed lady and the green-robed old man floated beside Yun Patian and the combat emperor. Lin Chen and the 4 combat emperors faced each other across space. Lin Chen smiled casually. Everyone, it must have been hard to chase me just now. However, from now on, you don't have to chase me anymore. While talking and laughing, Lin Chen suddenly activated his Sovereign's Descent talent. Currently, the Sovereign's Descent talent had accumulated 28,500 points of energy. When Lin Chen removed all his clones and put away the 5 dragons' Imperial Spear, he activated Ultimate Restoration. When he recovered to his peak, the surging Fire Tribulation Battle Chi transformed into primordial energy. Lin Chen activated the 9 types of Apocalypse Battle Auras. 4 types of Apocalypse Battle Auras were transformed into primordial energy and gathered at his fingertips. Sovereign's Descent has been activated. It will enhance the host's next attack. Charge. Rune of Penetration. 8 Desolate Finger. The 2 great offensive runes were superimposed at the final moment, and then the Sovereign's Descent. With this wave of his finger, Lin Chen brought out everything he had. When Lin Chun pointed out with his finger, the 4 types of desolate era energy interweaved and condensed into a 100,000-foot-long finger of energy. It was like a falling star, flattening everything. With this finger, the 8 desolations bow. This finger was like a sovereign descending upon the world. Hundreds of millions of lives perished. Not good. Retreat. What kind of battle technique is this? Everything happened very quickly. By the time the 4 battle emperors realized that something was wrong, it was already too late. They had never imagined that Lin Chun, a Yuan Venerate who could only rely on his movement technique to escape from them, would be able to unleash such a terrifying attack. The 4-colored energy finger stretched across the sky and fell straight down. It contained a destructive force that could crush mountains and rivers. Before the 4 battle emperors could escape, the 4-colored energy finger exploded. Bang! Boom boom boom! The destructive storm that destroyed everything swept across the sky like a spiral, expanding continuously. The airflow collapsed and the light was distorted. The cracks in the crystal walls that covered 100,000 feet spread all the way. It was a shocking sight. How is this possible? This brat only has the strength of a Yuan Venerate. How can he unleash such a terrifying battle technique? Mid-grade purple level? No, even a top-grade purple level Yuan Venerate wouldn't be able to unleash such power. Furthermore, a top-grade purple level isn't a grade that he can cultivate. Even some of the battle emperors who were watching the battle from the shadows were shocked speechless. Lin Chen's finger attack was infinitely close to the all-out attack of a late-stage third-level battle emperor. A vast mushroom cloud rose into the sky. The 4-colored energy storm affected the entire central region of the soul-burying mountain range. The earth veins were flattened and shattered as if they had encountered a large-scale natural disaster, turning into ashes. This finger attack had completely cut off the central region of the soul-burying mountain range. This finger attack had consumed all of Lin Chen's battle aura. He once again activated ultimate restoration and flapped his purple phoenix wings at an extremely fast speed. Using all of his strength, he finally managed to escape the remnant energy storm of the 8 desolate finger. When the storm dissipated, a deep abyss that was more than 100,000 feet deep appeared. The area at the center of the explosion had turned into a vacuum of nothingness. 2 incomplete battle emperors fell to the ground. One of their arms was broken. They were the 2 battle emperors of the Mo family. The void was filled with a large number of attribute light balls. There were almost hundreds of them. Yun Patian and his companion were lucky enough to escape. However, they were also seriously injured. Yun Patian had even lost an arm here. The 2 battle emperors of the Mo family had completely fallen. A Yuan Venerate had killed 2 battle emperors with 1 finger. He even forced 2 of them to retreat? All the battle emperors who were secretly watching the battle were dumbfounded. They were shocked speechless. Those who had witnessed this scene no longer doubted the legend of Lin Chen. With the trump card he had revealed, it was entirely possible for him to take on 4 battle emperors by himself. Lin Chen's attack seemed to be infinitely close to the full power of a late-stage battle emperor, but in reality, it was even more terrifying. This 8 desolate finger attack contained the power of his level 4 penetration rune. 20% of the attack's power had the characteristic of penetration. If it was a normal battle, this 20% could only threaten a half-step emperor. However, if it was used with the sovereign's descent, even 20% was equivalent to a late-stage battle emperor's full power attack. Receiving the attack of a late-stage battle emperor without any defense? It would be difficult for these 2 to not die. The Millennium Profound Azure Dragon swam in the void and swallowed the 2 battle emperors in one gulp. Then, it continued to collect attribute light balls for Lin Chen. 2 heavily injured and 2 fallen battle emperors dropped attribute light balls. This time, Lin Chen had really earned a lot. This was because the Sovereign's descent was not like the God Slayer innate skill, which would reduce the drop rate of attribute light balls. This time, it was a 100% drop rate. Host has received 230 lightning attribute points, 4,300 skill essence points, 9,800 rune energy points, 11500 battle chi essence points, 2,300 heavens path points, 8,450 blood energy points, 3,800 talent points. A host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest and received 50,000 mid-grade skill essence points. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest and received 10 attribute rune evolution stones. Host has triggered a special reward mechanism. Reward: 50,000 mid-grade rune energy point. Host has received 23 skill attribute light balls. After opening them, you will receive Chapter 523. Lin Chen's attributes experienced an unprecedented surge. Apart from the attribute light balls and treasure chests left behind by the 4 battle emperors, there were still over 200 Yuan Venerate powerhouses. Lin Chen, who had just removed his 5-grade transformation, had his battle chi soar wildly. Mid-5th level, late 5th level, early 6th level. Finally, he stopped short of the bottleneck of the late 6th level. Lin Chen's 114 cultivation was firmly at the peak of the mid-6th level. This increase was more ferocious than any of Lin Chen's previous increases. Who would have thought that this lad's innate talent in battle would not be inferior to his talent in alchemy? Since ancient times, I'm afraid no mortal has ever been able to kill a battle emperor while at the Yuan Venerate level. While many powerhouses were speechless, Lin Chen turned into a streak of light and disappeared into the horizon. Those powerhouses who had once had many thoughts about Lin Chen put away their greed. They admitted that their fates might not be any better than the 2 battle emperors of the Mo family under Lin Chen's sovereign finger. Furthermore, who knew how many more times this lad could use such an attack? His battle chi could be replenished in an instant, so no one could be sure how many more trump cards he had. The Yang family stood on a mountain peak and sighed in amazement. Yang Qing'er's beautiful eyes flickered as she stared in the direction Lin Chen had left with mixed feelings. The Yang family head saw the complicated look in his daughter's eyes and stroked her hair helplessly. This young man was too outstanding. He wasn't someone the Yang family could keep. It would be difficult for his daughter to find someone she liked in the future. After Lin Chen left the Burying Soul mountain range, there were still powerhouses spying on him in secret, as if they were hesitating whether to make a move. However, what he was more concerned about was that they were watching him with cold gazes. Since the start of the peak elixir meeting, Lin Chen had felt that someone was constantly watching him. However, given his cultivation base, he simply couldn't tell who was spying on him in secret. Phantom Rune. Lin Chen's figure suddenly flashed and split into 3 copies of himself with the exact same aura. Together with his main body, they retreated in 4 different directions. This move completely stunned those experts who still coveted Lin Chen. They appeared in the void one after another. Some were war emperors while others were half-step emperors. They looked on helplessly as Lin Chen fled in 4 different directions. They couldn't tell who was the real one. 8 days later, inside the Firmament Tower, in Haiyun City outside the first main city. In a sealed secret chamber, many torture instruments and bloodstains were scattered all over the floor. Miserable and ghastly screams could be heard. No, no. Lord Yunpatian, there is no enmity between us. Why must you torture me? Don't cut off my hand. Lord Yunpatian, I'm willing to pledge my loyalty to you. Pucci. Yunpatian F***ck your grandmother. People like you will go to hell sooner or later. 5 or 6 9th-level Yuan Venerates were tortured to death by the owner of the secret chamber. They died with their eyes wide open. After a long time, Yun Potion's figure walked out of the secret chamber. He was now a one-armed man with a ruthless and sinister look on his face. The beautiful lady in red outside the secret chamber trembled and lowered her head slightly. She felt a chill run down her spine. Looks like I have to find a chance to leave this lunatic, the beautiful lady in red thought to herself. Unpatian was an existence that many powers in the first main city would tremble in fear upon hearing his name. The reason was simple. Ordinary war emperors disdained to target Yuan Venerate. However, Unpatian was different. He had a habit of making people's hair stand on end. Every time he was in a bad mood, he would go out and capture some Yuan Venerates to torture and kill. The Yuan Venerates that he captured usually met with a tragic end. This made Unpatian's reputation even more terrifying than many veteran war emperors. This brat dared to cripple my arm. Wait for me to send a message to Big Brother. The two of us will join forces. As long as we capture this brat, I will make him beg for death. Unpatian's facial muscles twitched a few times before he walked out of the secret chamber in a sinister and crazed manner. The beautiful lady in red followed closely behind him. Divine Continent's Spiritual Ink City, first floor of the Immortal Feast restaurant. Many guests were dumbfounded as they watched a silver-robed young man wolfing down his food. That person seems to be Lin Chun of the spiritual state, who has been in the limelight recently, right? Oh my God, he actually dares to appear here without any disguise. Is he crazy? Many powerhouses in the restaurant were frightened and swallowed their saliva. However, no one dared to act blindly without thinking. Lin Chen's battle record of killing 2 war emperors with a single finger had already spread throughout the Divine Continent. Anyone below the war emperor level who dared to have any ideas about him would be courting death. Lin Chen ordered a Manchu Han imperial feast and ate heartily. The previous series of battles had already starved him to death. Even though the spiritual energy could resist hunger, it could not resist his appetite. After finishing off the mountain of delicacies, Lin Chen let out a satisfied burp and opened the system interface. Heavenly Path Possession System version 4. 0 Host. Lin Chen Cultivation Base. Mid-6th Level Yuan Venerate Realm Limit Power. 925000 Dragon Power Mid-Grade Blood Essence. 978,000 points Mid-Grade Battle Chi Essence. 936,600 points Mid-Grade Mind Power. 894 points. Peak of the Grand Completion Stage of Law Phase. Mid-Grade Cultivation Technique Soul Essence. 165,500 points Mid-Grade Rune Energy. 275,400 points Heavenly Path Points. 444,080 points Talent Points. 326,200 points Mid-Grade Elemental Energy Points. 2,554 points for Fire Element. 1050 points for Earth Element. 1098 points for Wood Element. 1175 points for Metal Element. 1358 points for Water Element. 2782 points for Lightning Element. 997 points for Wind Element. 998 points for Light Element. 88 points for Dark Element. Cultivation Technique Status Column. Open Bloodline Status Column. Open Passive Talents. Reinforced Iron Bones 30%, Life Points 100%, Divine Force 25%, Emperor Slayer Active Talents. Ultimate Moment, Ultimate Convergence, Sovereign Descent, Cooldown Time. 22 days. Attribute Runes. Level 4 Slowing Rune, Level 4 Penetration Rune, Level 4 Charging Rune, Level 4 Illusion Rune. Treasures on hand. 390 Blue Tier Battle Skills, 9 Half Purple Tier Battle Skills, 9 Low Purple Tier Battle Skills, 2,899. Grade 6 Medicinal Herbs, 64 Grade 7 Treasures of Heaven and Earth, 3 Low-Grade Grade 7 Weapons System Update. Version 5. 0 requires 1 million Heavenly Path Points and 400,000 Mid-Grade Cultivation Technique Soul Essences. This time, Lin Chen had killed hundreds of Yuan Venerates and 2 Battle Emperors, severely injuring 2 Battle Emperors. His harvest was terrifying. It was even more than the God Slayer innate skill. Excluding the side effects of the God Slayer innate skill, the Yuan venerates Lin Chen had killed this time were all at least at the 8th level of the Heavenly Path realm. His harvest was much better than the Yuan venerates from the Bai family. After Lin Chen's manifold black azure dragon had absorbed the bodies of the 2 battle emperors, its pure strength had stopped at 999,999 dragon power. It was only one step away from the legendary 1,000,000 dragon power. As long as it took this step, the Azure Dragon would become a true Grade 7 savage beast. Just as Lin Chen was about to activate the fusion function, a scream came from the street outside. "No. Young Master Long, this child is ignorant. Please be magnanimous and forgive him." An old man pulled a young man to kneel in front of the young man in dragon robes as the old man apologized profusely. Everyone on the street, regardless of gender or age, was kneeling on the ground, not daring to make a sound for fear of angering the young man in dragon robes. "I, Long Qingyu, am the descendant of God, the descendant of the creator of the universe. Those who do not kneel in front of me are disregarding God's might. Kill them." The young man in dragon robes flicked his sleeves, looking extremely arrogant and condescending as if he was pronouncing the fate of the two. "You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.